Don't be a narc.
We'll light up your spark.
It's time for Leitsch.
In the dark.
Well done, gang. You gave more than I expected when you said you weren't gonna. That was pretty good. Thank you.
It's just whatever comes out, comes out.
Welcome back to Nerd Shit in
Welcome
the
back,
Dark,
everyone.
Braden's excited.
It's been a while.
It has been a while. We're your hosts, Chase the Chaz Skripek.
And Braden the Brad Nielster coming at ya.
Hard and heavy on the day after the first day of summer, and we brought our summer. We brought our summer vibes all in all. Our clothes are
certainly
summer.
did.
The hot outside is summer.
Oh, it's too summer.
And we're watching a summer themed movie to end this.
Oh, yes.
Guest host is back for the first time in a year and a half. Introduce yourself to the shitters who don't know you quite yet, Amber.
I am Amber.
Amber who?
Great. Amber Leitsch.
Amber great.
Apparently, I sang the theme
Amber
song.
great.
I was like, oh, yeah, that did happen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The little stick that we started with here.
The one and only.
The little bit. I asked Amber to do it with us, and she was like, how's the theme song go? And she's the one that fucking... I guess you didn't write it.
We wrote the lyrics,
We
but
wrote
she
the
wrote
lyrics,
the
you
music.
sung
Yeah.
it. You made
Yeah,
it
I
for
give
us.
you
Sung
like
it.
4 or 5 options.
Performed it.
Yeah.
And the most ridiculous one, that's like, that one. That's the one that you picked.
Yeah,
Yeah.
well, I like
It's
it.
all
It
coming
goes
back
with
to
the
me now.
vibe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It goes with the vibe.
Yes, I am am I still the resident musical theater nerd?
Kind of. Yeah, I don't think anybody
Pretty
else.
much.
Because you were
Great.
on when we did the Wicked episode, and I had
Yeah.
this side segment with you and me talking
That
about
was a
Wicked.
good episode.
And then that.
was a
So
great
yeah.
episode.
And you kind of flaunted some of your theater.
Something.
Yeah, like people you knew in the business.
Added a new dimension to the podcast because
Yeah.
we're not typically experts on anything that we talk about. Disclaimer:
Yeah.
we don't know.
Disclaimer.
We
a
put
lot of
time
things.
in enough that we
But
can
Amber
talk
is
about
genuine professional
it. Yeah.
in
like,
those. So
does
it was
this-
nice having an actual professional expertise weigh in on our podcast. Gave us a bit more credibility.
It kind of does.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I'm happy to be here.
When you were talking about that guy who played in the Wicked Broadway show
Michael,
that is
yeah.
your friend
Mhm.
in that one episode, I was like, hell yeah.
Yeah.
That's legit.
Mad theater credit.
We're out of the basement now.
Mhm.
And not only is he my friend, but now I am taking over his company,
Yeah,
which
that's-
is super cool.
This,
That is awesome.
this woman,
Yeah.
she's out here doing all sorts of things. She's had a crazy year and a
Cool.
half since the last time she was really on the show,
Wildness.
which we'll
Yeah.
probably get into a little bit
Yeah.
if you want to, if you don't mind.
Got a master's degree in the middle of it too.
You sure
Nice.
did.
Forgetting that happened.
This bitch. She's busy. You got a master's degree in that time.
I
as
did,
well.
yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
just a couple of masters.
Just masters of a craft.
How about that?
Masters of the universe.
But then we just talked about you being a sandwich master too, so you're in there as well.
It's true.
Yeah.
I don't know,
You
the
got your
master of
10,000
something.
hours.
I have the same amount of hours in sandwich eating as
Yeah.
you guys have put into your
I mean,
craft,
probably.
your things that make
To
you
be
use
I don't
honest,
think I have 10.
English.
I don't think I have
music.
10,000 hours in
Well,
teaching.
I think I was supposed to have 10,000 hours, but I never did the
10,000
reading.
hours?
I mean, I
How
don't
many?
know.
How long is 10,000 hours?
I mean,
like,
what? A
in
credit
days?
hour is supposed to be like
Divide 10,000
10
by
hours a week
24.
or something.
I'm not a math
Somebody
teacher.
do that real quick. Do 10,000 divided by 24.
No.
Then we'll get how many days it is.
I mean, what? 24%?
416.67.
That's
There you
not
go.
too many days.
So a little, like
That's
a
not
year and a
bad.
half.
I have more than 10,000 hours worth of sandwich eating. For
So
no
you're
doubt
more of a
in my
master than we
fucking
are.
mind. I'm like a grandmaster. I'm like,
Yeah.
I'm like a doctorate in. Is
Doctor
that
sandwich.
what
Well,
it goes?
how long does it take
bachelor,
you
master?
to eat a sandwich?
How long
Because
does it
I
take
also
me to
get
eat a
the
sandwich?
sense that you eat sandwiches quickly.
Yeah, I down those fuckers.
Yeah, so
But
that
how-
kind of cuts down on the time.
Are you making them in that amount of time? Or do you make them
I'm not
in
always the one
twice
that
the amount
makes
of
them.
time? Oh.
I do make
There's that,
some, but I guess I'm a sandwich eating master.
Mm.
But I digress.
Does that take
Hmm.
away from some of your hours? I could talk about this
I don't
I
forever.
think
know.
it
I don't know. I
does.
didn't-
I think it
Originally, this wasn't
does.
based on me making the sandwiches. They were just based on me eating the
There has to be
sandwiches.
an algorithm.
Well, I've always thought this. It takes me a lot longer to make a sandwich than it
does.
does for me to eat a sandwich.
Certainly.
Which is one of my greatest... That's why I like to order sandwiches. Because I don't
Yeah.
want to be the one making them. Because I don't like the idea of a sandwich being something that takes longer than the
Right.
enjoyment I get out of it.
I know.
Like a good meal
is a
that takes
trap.
a long time to cook. At least it's a good... a sandwich is a sandwich, and if it takes longer than the time that it takes to eat it,
And sometimes it makes me
I don't know if
not
it's worth
want
it.
to eat a sandwich at all if I
Yeah.
have to make it.
Now,
Yeah.
are we like what about like quality time? Because we talk
Mm.
about amount of hours and stuff, but we know that you're a fast eater, that you eat those sandwiches quickly. So does that detract from your mastership, or does that just is that more
Is that
impressive?
like bonus credit?
I think it
Right.
would detract from my mastership if I didn't have so many hours of eating sandwiches. Like I've eaten so many sandwiches
Right.
that it kind of balances. Like it deters what you're trying to put against it.
Pretty much. And we're
Yeah.
counting since back when you were old enough to eat a sandwich.
Yeah. Oh
Yeah.
yeah. We're talking
Whoa.
what, like 3 or 4 years
That's
old.
Right.
like 30,000
Mhm.
hours.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I saw you down that chicken parm the other day.
I did. I was
I
so
looked
fucking hungry
away
that
and
day.
I looked at it. It was gone.
I love a good chicken.
I was like,
parm
I've taken
sandwich.
3 bites of my calzone, and
I had a small lunch that day. It was my birthday.
it was your birthday. Happy late birthday!
It was my birthday.
Happy
a few
late
days ago.
birthday.
Thanks, guys.
Yeah.
Thanks, guys. Thanks. I'm 33 now. I've been saying that it's like my Taylor Swift birthday again, but like where hers
Whoa.
is 22,
Mhm.
because that song came out when I was 22. Not that I really like Taylor Swift or dislike Taylor Swift. I don't really care. But that song was new when I turned 22, so I felt that, and now I'm 33. And I
33,
feel
yay
that
for
too.
me.
But it's
Yeah.
I won't be double-digit birthday until 44.
People don't make songs about being 33.
They should though.
You should make one.
33.
There you go.
Eyes on me.
Eyes on me. Amber, it's good to have you back
What's
on
up?
the show.
It's good to be back on the show.
It's been a year and a half. It's been a wild year and a half. I kind of want you to just kind of take the beginning of this and talk about what you think you might want to talk about with what's going on with you. The last time you were on here,
Goodness.
Elsewhere had just started. You were
Yeah.
talking about your first show that you were doing. It hadn't even started yet. And we've come a long way since then. So I kind of want to get into that. Maybe reintroduce new shitters to kind of like what that even is. And then we
Sure.
can go from there before we
Yeah.
start doing new nerd shit.
Yeah.
I
it's-
agree.
I'll try to do the medium size version, but it has been absolutely wild because I started a theater company and then we didn't dissolve a theater company, but we definitely took a break from a theater company because life things happened. My partner was going to grad school, so that was a whole nother thing. And sometimes
He's a master now.
Oh no, he's going to be a master. He's just starting his master journey. Yeah, it's gonna,
Apprentice right now.
yeah.
Padawan learner.
But yeah, so that was really, really interesting. But now the teen theater company I was working with and for, that's now going to glom together with the Elsewhere universe and become legally part of that kind of.
It's like Voltron.
Yeah.
Ooh,
So
or
that's going to
Megazord.
be interesting. And it's really interesting going through Pittsburgh theater because it's great. Everybody knows each other, but it also sucks because everybody knows each other and there's not a lot of new people to know.
Mm-hmm.
Just get into like a high school mentality with that, with like gossip and stuff.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
There has been some just a little bit that she and I have talked about it.
I imagine I like to whenever I get like a peer into like those little like niche communities that I'm not a part of.
Yeah.
Like I like to always see what are the social dynamics going on down there. Like if
Oh,
y'all
it's a
know
mess.
each other, like you're gonna come across some drama.
It's
an
theater,
absolute
man.
mess,
It's
yeah.
drama's right in the name.
Some people have said theater people are awful. And you know what? Sometimes.
Some of them are.
But it also makes them really, really great.
No, I think
It
theater
depends
people
who's-
are people.
Good
People
cover.
who need people.
No,
Yeah.
I
are the
like
luckiest people
I
in
like
the world.
theater people. I was a theater person once upon a time. I'm friends with
Yeah.
lots of theater people, but just like most groups of people,
Yeah.
you just can't lump every one of them. I'd say there are a lot of strange and weird theater people, for
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah, I'd hang out with.
But I'd still
theater
hang out with
people
any one
over
of 'em.
A lot of
Yeah.
different other groups of people.
Yeah, agreed.
But talking
Yeah.
about strange theater people, it's really, really cool because the company, the collective
Yeah.
that I'm kind of reworking, taking over, working with, we do the weird theater. Because as a reminder to those of you who I talked to or talked at on this podcast
Yeah.
before, the collective is a professional teen theater academy where we take theater that is not done in high schools and we do it with the teenagers in their programs. And that is really to promote, because a lot of these students want to go into the performing arts as a career option.
Mm-hmm.
And we give them a safe space to interact with really adult concepts like sex and drugs and all those things in between.
Nice.
Murder, all those things.
Cool.
Yeah. So we give them a space to do that, but we also do shows in a
They
weird
give
way.
them a space to have sex.
No,
use drugs,
and murder
people. Kids in
On
Pittsburgh need
stage. But we recently just closed a show called Into the Woods.
Oh,
I'm sure you guys know
Into
that.
the woods.
And
Anna
out of the
Kendrick.
woods.
Yes.
Yes.
But
I've seen
it was in a ball pit.
Into
and
the ball
then-
pit.
In an abandoned like kids play park, because we were diving into childhood innocence and trauma.
Whoa.
So you did Into the Woods, but the location was in
The setting.
So it was called
everything
Into the
was same.
Ballpark, or
There was a lot. We actually we were trending on TikTok for a second.
that's amazing.
Whoa.
Yeah, for being in a ball pit, and it was actually going to be a real legitimate ball pit with just like loose balls
Yeah.
going in. So we bought like
dirty
40
needles. And,
Yeah, so we bought like 4,200 balls. We
There have been in ball pits, you know.
yeah. So we bought like 4,200 balls. We put it all in, and then we got about 15 minutes into rehearsal, and I'm the party killer, because I'm like maybe this is a little bit too dangerous for children to be jumping in and out of
Because of all the dirty heroin needles. Yeah.
Mhm.
that too. Yeah.
It's good to be
So
responsible.
we had to like glue all the balls together, and it actually looked much, much better. But yeah, it was going to be in a loose ball pit for a second, and then it was just in a artistically
Yeah.
done up ball pit.
Now, was
Is
it
there
a
a video?
regulation?
Go ahead.
Was it a regulation ball pit?
I don't think so. I don't know.
Because I saw a
It was
thing at
square.
TwitchCon
There's a
where,
regulation to it.
yeah, a woman broke her back from jumping into a ball pit that was just like a layer of ball. It was a layer of ball, and then it was
see.
solid concrete underneath.
Oh.
And so she like did a
Why
dive.
did they think that was a good idea to even make it like that?
I think they got sued.
Yeah.
Probably.
Yeah.
they weren't.
So
They
it
weren't
definitely
following the rules.
wasn't.
Ugh.
Because it was supposed to be in an abandoned play park, so we wanted it to look sad. So if you can imagine, 4,200 balls didn't even cover the bottom.
Oh fuck!
Yeah,
Wow.
you never know how many balls you need.
You never know
until
how many balls you need.
Till they don't cover
you
a
don't
pit.
have enough.
This is good
Huh.
advice for
And then
people who
you
are
actually
thinking about.
did this, though. This was performed.
Yeah,
Do you
couple
video
weeks
That
ago.
sounds
that?
really cool.
I don't
would
have
like-
video, but I definitely have pictures. Yeah,
I love Into the Woods. Into the Woods was the first
I didn't know
musical
that
I
you loved
saw.
Into the Woods.
It was the first musical I saw in 8th grade, and it like changed my whole, because it was during a time in
no
my
idea.
own personal life where like I felt like innocence was kind of like dying, right? I
Yeah.
was 13. My parents were like starting to go through what was the beginning of their divorce. Life wasn't the way it was, and then my music teacher put on Into the Woods.
The
and,
original
and
Broadway.
I think so.
cat,
Yeah, it
like
was
they were on stage.
Mhm, mhm.
Really curly hair.
Yep,
Bernadette Peters
yep.
as the witch.
I don't know any of the actors
That's
anymore. It was a
fine.
long time ago.
I
But
believe-
I watched that video. We watched, Act 1, and Act 1 stays pretty close to all the stories. And then it got to
And-
Act 2, and I was like,
Spoiler.
I've never felt so like, I just was, I was in love. I was immediately like, this is a fucking cool. It took all my,
yeah.
at a time in my life where I was going from like these fairy tales that are for kids to like, the baker's cheating on, or the baker's wife is cheating on him, and the fucking,
And then decides to go back, and then
the one
spoiler,
person like gets a tree knocked on them and dies. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's fucking
wild.
crazy.
I watched the movie version and didn't like it.
a lot of people didn't
I went
like
to
it.
see the movie version when it came out. I don't remember. I think I liked it.
It's
I was, like,
really
20.
intense.
I got
The movie
fatigued by
version?
it, but this
Yeah.
happens to me a lot with musical theater, or like I'm into it, but my attention span's just not there
That's
to where
fair.
like I like what is constant singing. Like I need breaks in between,
yeah, and
and stuff.
Sondheim really
Woods
doesn't
has
give
a
you
little-
those breaks.
Doesn't it?
right?
It
Like
barely,
we
just
watched
teeny
we watched
tiny.
Hamilton the other day, and I was
No
into
breaks.
it. I was into it, but no breaks.
Yeah.
And we were getting into like past the revolution, like getting into like the political stuff, and we're like, can we turn this off because I'm tired. Like it's good, it's
Yeah.
all good.
It's just too much.
It's just
at
too
once.
much. Yeah,
Yeah. You kind of got to be there for it live.
I had been there for a live, and I got fatigued then too.
Oh, shit, okay.
Yeah. You know what? Someone
Maybe you're
really
just not into it.
wise once told me after coming to a 3-hour-long play about AIDS, I asked him after, did you like it? And he said, you know what? I really like the Lord of the Rings trilogy, but I don't think I can watch it all in one sitting.
That's a great analogy. for it.
I've done that. And yeah, it's not the best
I have
way
done
to
it
do
as
it.
well. I've watched
Yeah.
the extended editions all in one sitting, and
it's a bad time.
there's such a thing as too much
It's
of a good
bad
thing.
time by the end. Yeah.
And that's what Sondheim does to you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It makes it work.
Yeah.
It makes it not the joy part of what you're getting out of it. It makes it just work.
Work. Yep.
Yeah.
A challenge.
Yeah. So
But
that
yeah, we do crazy stuff like that.
that's cool. That's cool. I
Yeah.
don't think we haven't like talked in a
No.
while. So I guess I didn't know you were doing that.
Yeah.
That's cool. What
I
else?
just thought about what I was doing too.
Yeah. So where are things going moving forward then with all of this?
So moving forward, I'm still gonna be doing that freelancer life, which is
Mhm.
so super exciting because I determined a couple months ago that I was like, man, because I wasn't sure what I wanted to do. I wasn't sure if I should get what some might call a real person job, a real 9 to 5. I didn't know if I should go that direction. Everybody was asking me, well, what are you gonna do now with your master's in arts administration and like performing leadership? Technically, what I have to spell it out. Performing arts leadership and management. Like it's such a big
Palm.
title. Yeah, Palm. That's
Okay.
exactly what they call it.
Palm tree.
But everybody was asking
Yeah.
me, like, what are you gonna do? Are you gonna like apply to like big theaters and try to be their executive director? Like, what are you gonna do? What are you gonna do? I had no idea, but then I was like, you know what? If I could just keep like putting on musicals, I'll be
Mhm.
happy. So I'm gonna do more private coaching. I'm gonna put on more musicals, keep doing.
You're just
the
gonna keep
musical
doing it.
life,
Follow your
and I'm gonna be
calling.
really happy about it. I'm hoping that I'm gonna make enough money doing
Right.
it too. That I just keep rolling and chucking along.
You're
doing that.
you're the only person I know who can put on and execute musicals. So
Well, great.
Yeah,
Thanks.
You're probably the only person I know that's doing like something like this at all.
Yes.
So,
Yeah.
Like
it's
just
a
like
unique position. you
following
find
an
yourself
artsy
in.
passion and it's successful. You go,
Yeah.
you know,
Well,
in a
thanks.
successful direction. At
I'm
least.
trying to because I really, really love arts education. I did it for a really long time in a formal and informal school as a full-time educator. And I love that. And people who do that are really absolutely incredible. But I just found that I could do so much more as an arts teacher outside of the structures of what education in America is today.
In the shit. Yeah.
Yeah.
Specifically
in the
today.
trenches.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
I get
that's
it.
fair.
Oh yeah, I know. Because full-time educators, man, I was in the trenches.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I had to get out, but. But
I don't
yeah,
blame
there's a
you.
lot to do, and that's why I got the master's too, because it wasn't just another arts master's. It was like really business led, and it was really like
Right.
management things.
Which are the pieces that you need to kind of
Yeah.
Yeah.
have for what you're doing.
Exactly. So I like put all the pieces together, all the pieces that were missing, and now we're just gonna.
Keep it going.
See
And
what
then one day
happens.
I'm gonna finish writing our musical.
Yeah, you will.
And we're gonna
That's
fucking
coming.
Because
get
I
it
think
on
that
the
you're
road.
about like 2 years past our deadline.
Yeah,
of-
maybe. Yeah. Wasn't our deadline like just a Wednesday? It was like we'll meet on Wednesdays.
No.
Been a
Your
lot of
deadline for like the
Wednesdays.
first draft was like October of
Yeah.
20.
Busy, you know. Had a kid, did all that stuff. I'm
Yeah,
working,
life
but you know
gets
what?
in the way.
It's there. It just needs to
is.
be.
It's in the spreadsheet.
skeleton and veins are there. It just needs
It
some
is in a
skin and
spreadsheet.
yeah.
Just needs a plucky friend.
We have a place now. I don't know if it needs a plucky friend.
just needs a plucky friend that comes in a bit later.
No. I don't think so. I think all the
Are you
characters.
plugging yourself?
I think all the
Yeah.
characters that I have
I'm
in
not
it
in it.
are.
I'm not in it. Fucking Hess is in it.
It's not
I'm
Hess
not in it.
exactly. It's a guy that
Yeah,
plays
it's
the
Hess.
character that Hess was in my life at that point in time. It's a weed story, and he was my drug dealer.
So he has to
He
be
has
in it.
to be in it.
Obviously, he has to
There's
be in
just
it.
no room for you.
Oh, and artistic things have never gone up for interpretation where, it didn't exactly happen the way that it happened.
Never,
I
ever.
just don't see. There's no version of the story that I just feel like
Wow.
you'd be in.
There's no version of me in your story.
It's not
I
my
hear you
story.
loud and
It's
clear,
in my
pal.
interpret.
I hear you loud and clear.
Most of the story is written about times in my life there before you moved into my apartment.
It can be about multiple times in your life.
It is about multiple times, but most of those multiple
But
times.
there's a hard deadline of when you stopped smoking weed after this specific point in time.
We'll see what we can do. We're still working on it. I don't want to say no.
You know what? He might be
Think it out
saving
of
you
your
for the
direction. I
sequel.
think you need something more inspiration in it.
I
you
think
know?
you think I just need one friend that was.
You You know, he could also steal all your ideas.
There is a scene where I'm sitting in a room. My character Chandler is sitting in a room with a bunch of his friends at the beginning of Act 2. You could be in that part. I mean, it's
an ensemble scene.
What else do you want, man? There's nothing. We have a very strict story to
You
stick
could make
to.
a whole beeline for him. B storyline.
B plot.
I will.
Yeah.
I'll throw him in somehow. We'll
Yeah,
just-
maybe he's just waiting for the sequel for you to be written in the sequel.
Because what is this about?
It's a musical about my time and experience in my life and my mental health while I lived in Indiana, Pennsylvania.
And I'm not a part of that.
The portions
I'm
that I
in it.
cover are the time with Brent, the time. See, here's the thing, Braden. You disappeared during the portion of this story that is my saddest part. Like,
He's
Right.
gaslighting you.
no, I'm not. You were gone though.
I came back during the tail end of it, though.
But like, you came back, but when I had finished like the fucking synopsis of the musical.
body.
Yeah.
This musical
the
has
skeleton.
been in the works for so long.
Yeah.
Can't
you
be fit
missed
into
it.
that schedule.
We'll get you in there
It's been
somehow.
so long.
You also need to check out the musical Reefer Madness.
Reefer Madness.
Yeah,
Okay.
I don't know a lot about it, but
I should
you
probably
can-
watch some of these and make sure I'm not stealing
that's
anybody's
what I
ideas.
was gonna say. I don't know much about it. I could look up the plot for you, but I do know it exists.
Yeah. Ours
it's
is
going to
about
be a
smoking
Little League
weed, but it's
Players.
also just it's a mental health. It's
Yeah.
more a mental health
Yeah,
musical than it is weed is just one of the things. But we're getting
Has a
off
fun
topic.
little
We'll get you in there,
storyline.
man. We'll get you in there.
Yeah.
How about this? I'll let you play Chandler. You can,
Okay.
Oh,
you can just be that character.
It's a musical, right?
Yeah.
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 I do a great
And when do we
Chase
get-
impression.
when we
What
get-
am
talk.
I? What am I?
Yeah.
I'm not a baritone. You said something about
A bass.
I think you just meant you're a bear, like a
tenor,
big gay dude.
what's the lowest?
A bass.
I'm not a bass.
Yeah, your tenor.
I might be a tenor. Am I
I
a
think.
tenor? Am I a tenor?
You're like a fiver.
I bet you. I'll bet money on it.
You will be
Oh, he's auditioning.
popular.
Oh.
You're gonna be popular.
So we might not put you in the first, run, but
He could be in the tour.
we want to get
goes
this
on
off the
tour.
road, right? Yeah, if we go on tour,
All right, we'll talk about it later.
we will talk about it later. We don't need to worry about that now.
We gotta get into this.
We do got to get into
We gotta
this.
get into
Yeah.
this.
So let's get our new nerd shit out of the way, and then we can get the High School Musical
But
too.
also, did you even tell the people where we're at?
Where are we at? Oh, we're in a camper.
Whoa.
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 We're in Amber's camper. Amber's camper.
Whoa.
That's a weird-
Feels kind of like a spaceship.
It does kind of
does
feel
feel-
like a spaceship. It feels like everything's kind of chrome looking, like
Yeah.
like when Squidward
Very
goes to the
gray.
future.
Yes.
Future. It sort of looks like that.
Please do not be deceived. This is my family's camper.
I like
I
it.
do
though.
not get
Like,
this
I
kind
like-
of salary as a freelance artist to be very. I don't want bad
We can make this our studio
expectations.
for our official studio for the podcast.
Oh wow.
Amber's camper. You say something?
I like to imagine we're in hyperspace right now on
Oh,
autopilot, and this
okay.
is just like what we do because there's just like downtime
Mm-hmm.
when they're in hyperspace, like in the original movies.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Mhm.
in Star
you
Wars,
go.
I mean,
Yeah, I know what you're
Yeah.
talking
I got there too.
about. Lots of downtime.
Yeah.
I know.
they
some
kind of
nerd
skip
shit.
that in the later movies. They forget that like hyperspace still takes time
Yeah.
to travel through.
I guess they just don't want to waste our time by having just like downtime.
right, and then you get like those downtime scenes of Chewie with the weird hologram game.
Yeah.
Mm.
You want
Gotcha.
more of that in Star Wars?
Yes.
That's what you're missing in new
Mhm.
Star Wars. That's the problem with new Star
That's
Wars.
exactly the problem.
Not enough downtime.
That and
You're
all
listening,
these-
which I know you are, Lucasfilm. Maybe think of some more downtime. I mean, I liked an Andor when he went to like the bar
That
to
and all
meet
the
up
women.
with the and the black people.
I'm just kidding. I
Yeah.
am a
Yeah.
feminist.
Yes,
Mm-hmm.
and I like black people. We're just making fun of the people that actually. There are people that are actually mad about that when it comes to Star Wars.
Yes.
And there's worse things about Star Wars than that, if you can believe it. So new nerd shit. Do we want to hop into that then? Unless
yeah,
there,
I don't
yeah.
even know what the new
Let's
nerd
hop
shit
into
is.
it.
I'm excited to learn.
Yeah, I guess if you don't have any new nerd shit, Braden, I'm gonna let you
She
roll.
kind of went into a new
Yeah,
nerd
I
shit
guess
with
that
her,
with,
Yeah.
your, with your
theater
life.
company.
Yeah.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah.
So Braden, what have you been getting down to?
Oh, let's see, Chase. Let's see.
Let's see.
Should I start with the movie?
Start with whatever you want to start with.
Should I start with the movie?
Just
Okay, we'll
roll
start.
out.
So Kailey and I recently watched the original Superman,
All right.
Christopher Reeves
Mhm.
Superman.
Yeah.
That came out in the 70s. 78. Has Marlon Brando, Christopher
Wow.
Reeves.
Mm-hmm.
And I liked it. It's definitely a product of its time in terms of pacing. Because I said you could probably it's like a 2.5 hour movie. It's a long ass
That's
movie.
long for
I don't
the
think I realized it
70s.
was that
It is
long.
a long ass
Yeah.
movie.
Yeah.
You could cut out the first 45 minutes of the movie.
Isn't the first 45 minutes like him as a baby and like coming to Earth?
Yeah, it's him on Krypton.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You think they could cut that out?
They could cut out all of the Krypton scenes.
Krypton. Okay.
You know,
Wow, that's cryptic.
That's
ask-
Marlon Brando's whole stuff.
Yeah, ask me why I'm calling it Krypton.
Why are you calling it Krypton?
So I'm calling it Krypton because Marlon Brando, so he plays Jor-El,
Mhm.
the Superman's dad.
Mm-hmm.
And the entire Krypton scene
They
is
say
like
Krypton?
30 minutes of
Yeah.
like the beginning of the movie of them just being like, this planet's gonna blow up. We gotta figure like General Zod, get out of here.
Uh-huh.
You're a war criminal or something.
Right. The
Um,
beginning of Man of Steel.
It's very slow.
You
It's
say
very
Man
like
of Steel did it
like
better.
like stage like Shakespearean almost like stage play wise of
Mhm.
like how like the actors are emoting and like like delivering their lines, especially Marlon Brando. And Marlon
It's kinda his
Brando
thing.
says
Sounds like it.
Krypton
Krypton.
about 50 goddamn times.
All right. I have not watched this movie in a long fucking time, so.
Yeah, and I guess he's, not supposed to pronounce it like that, but I guess Marlon Brando kind of half-assed this movie. Like, there's whole behind-the-scenes drama of, like, Christopher Reeves being pissed off at Marlon Brando because he wasn't taking it very seriously and was, like, messing things up because he was Marlon Brando. And he was,
Right.
like, really
Sounds
famous
fitting.
at
He
that
is
point,
kinda
and this
known
was,
for
like,
being a
Christopher
douche.
Reeves's big break.
Yeah.
But, yeah, the beginning of the movie, it's just, it's Krypton.
I guess.
Blowing up.
Krypton?
And then, like,
Krypton. Kryptonite.
they have, like, a Smallville sequence. Very abrupt, like, time jumps and stuff. Smallville sequence with a guy who's not Christopher Reeves, but I originally thought it was Christopher Reeves as a teenager, but it wasn't. It was
Wouldn't he be a
different actor.
baby? Yeah. Okay.
No, it's like when he's 18. They go from like him being a baby. By the way, you see his full baby dick.
Why?
I don't know. It's the 70s,
Why?
but like when he crashed,
Is he packing?
when like the Waynes or not the Waynes, the Kents, not the Waynes, the Kents find him.
The Waynes.
Um,
Martha.
Yeah, he's like a naked baby, and he's like a 4-year-old kid.
Yeah.
Probably. And yeah, it's just like they have like a naked 4-year-old, like full frontal.
Hate that.
Huh.
You see it. Yeah. And I was like, we were like, whoa, that's a choice.
I need to rewatch
Um,
this movie as well,
That is
honestly.
a choice.
But yeah, then it like smash cuts to when he was
It
18.
is a choice.
There's like a funny running sequence where he's like trying to catch up to a train and he's like on wires and you can tell because he's like, like running and stuff. And it was pretty fun. And then like once it actually gets to like him in Metropolis as like working for the Daily Planet, that's like when the movie actually begins, and that's like 45 minutes into the
later.
movie.
Mhm. Okay.
And
yeah.
that part was really good, but like I said, you could probably cut out the first 45
Well,
minutes.
it's funny
because
because like when it comes to this movie, when I think about it or remember anything that I can remember about it, I don't remember the beginning at all.
Well, that's because
Like
it's
it's
not-
all him
it's
as an
not that
adult in my
important.
memory.
and like we were like Kailey and I are
Would-
talking about this, like back in the 70s, people who weren't like comic book nerds didn't know Superman that well. Like they didn't know his origin. So you need like a long origin sequence. Nowadays, audiences are very aware of who Superman
Mhm.
is and roughly
Well,
Well, and you
where
can
he's
cut that
from.
down. I mean, even
So you can
Man of
cut that
Steel,
down.
they have that. It's just and a lot of people don't like Man of Steel. I like Man of Steel.
Yeah.
But I think they did that fine. Like it's like a 15-minute maybe part of the movie is
Right.
is that.
Right. 15 minutes for the origin is perfect for Superman nowadays, but not 45 minutes of like Krypton and Smallville stuff where like
Krypton,
not a lot
Krypton,
actually happens.
Krypton.
It's just like getting into it. I did like the Waynes, or not the Waynes, the Kents.
Krypton.
I did like the Kents.
Braden really just wants to watch Batman.
Yeah. But it was good. It was campy in like a fun 70s way.
Mm-hmm.
The hopeful Superman, how Superman really the spirit of Superman is how he really is supposed to be, where he's just like the symbol
Mm-hmm.
of like power and like something that humankind and American kind can look up to because he's an American. He makes that known in the movie multiple times. He's, which that's also part of his character. He's,
Mhm.
he's
He's
proud
a farm boy.
He's a Kansas farm boy. He's proud to be an American.
Yeah.
And he knows that, we can do better.
Yeah.
But it's very charming. A lot of the I did like that this is like from that superhero era where they focus in a lot more on him like saving people
Yeah.
and like stopping disasters than him like fighting someone.
Mm-hmm.
Because like Lex Luthor is in it.
Does he fight Zod in that one?
No.
I was gonna say that's
I thought he
Superman
was going
2
to.
where he fights Zod.
I thought he was going to because Zod is
he's in
it.
Yeah.
Like he's in the Krypton scene.
Krypton.
And
Right.
they have like
Krypton.
a glass window panel that comes
Krypton.
floating by in
Krypton.
space and captures Zod and his cronies.
Oh yeah, they get banished to the
Yeah, and they're all like in
Phantom
this
Zone
glass
or
panel,
whatever.
and it's like just like the 2D rendering of like their faces. They're like, "No, forgive us. We're trapped in this glass panel now. No!" And then they go off into space, and you don't hear about them for the rest of the movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's it. So yeah, that comes in for
The
Superman 2.
direction that I think Man of Steel did better, where it made them the main villains. But
Yeah.
in that point in time, if you're gonna make a Superman movie, and it was the Superman movie, Lex Luthor has to be the main villain.
Right, and they had Gene Hackman.
Right.
For Lex Luthor,
Right.
and he did a good job. The thing I wasn't expecting, which I guess this makes sense for this era, but like pretty much all of Lex Luthor's scenes are comedic, like all of them. They're all like played for laughs, pretty much, because he has this like bumbling henchman, and he has this like sexy secretary that like he
Secretary.
How sexy.
secretary
How
that he
sexy.
actually like wears like lingerie, I
9,
guess like a
10?
uniform.
11?
It was like a 10
Krypton?
for the 70s, probably.
70s 10? Wow.
Yeah.
A Crypt 10. Wow,
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah, Miss Tessbacher is her name. She was created for the movie. I looked that up.
Cool.
I think she ends up betraying him. Spoiler alert later on.
In one of the other movies.
So like, yeah, because like he tried. Lex Luthor. I missed this part of the movie, but I think Lex Luthor tries to just like mess with the San Andreas fault line to like make California fall into the ocean, and Superman
Well,
stops
damn.
that. He like fixes the San Andreas fault line, which that was a fun
Hell
part
yeah.
of the movie.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I need to rewatch this.
It was
I was looking at this like a month ago
yeah,
over Memorial Day, and I didn't. I'm glad you did though.
yeah.
What's your favorite part? What's your favorite scene in the whole movie? What was
Ooh.
the scene that stood out to you?
My favorite scene in the whole movie. That's a good. I really liked. It's a small scene. I really like this scene where like Clark Kent's just trying to be a bumbling idiot. He first meets Lois, and they like are walking down the streets of New York, and then all of a sudden,
Metropolis.
yeah, Metropolis. It's filmed in New York, but it's Metropolis. And there's all of a sudden there's just this like gun that comes out of the alleyway, and he's like, "Hey, you, come here!" And they're like, and like Clark is like, "Oh, dearest," and Lois is like, "Oh, like let's not go into the alley, Clark. Like he's going to rob us." And Clark is like, "No, I think we should go into the alley," because he's like trying to be weak and pathetic. And so they go into the alley, and like this guy's like, "All right, we're gonna mug you now. Give us your purse." And like Clark is like, "You better give your purse, Lois." And then like she does, but
shit.
then she like tricks him and like punch like kicks the guy in the nuts,
Yeah.
and then he like pulls his gun and shoots, but then he goes Superman and he catches the bullet without her noticing, and then like pretends like he faints. And I'm like, why? I feel like you could have done a few things before this point before it got to.
You could have just not gone in the alley.
You could just not gone in the alley,
Didn't have
but
to
like I
go,
guess he
yeah.
had to go for like the whole Clark Kent as a coward angle
Sure.
to make it convincing. But
Yeah.
it was just a funny scene, and it was also just funny that I was like, I imagine that like anyone who like has lived their entire lives in the country thinks living in a city is exactly like that, where like you just walk down the street
Yeah.
and there's just like
Oh, yeah.
random people in alleys always ready to shoot you or steal your purse or
Or
something.
at least convince you into the alley
right.
so they can.
As
shoot
a
you.
once Pittsburgh transplant living in Chicago, I can confirm that most Pittsburgh people think that that's what happens in Chicago.
Yeah.
And let me tell you what, only half the time.
Okay.
Right.
And that's Chicago. That's the worst of it. Metropolis is supposed to be like, other than
Real
the crime
bad.
that Superman has to stop, it's supposed to be a nice city.
Right. It's
Oh,
not.
really?
Yeah,
It's,
it's
not
not
Gotham.
Gotham. It's
yeah.
Oh, I got the two
Metropolis.
mixed up.
Yeah.
My bad.
Yeah.
It's supposed to be the more hopeful
Yeah.
ideal of the city
That's
because that's
fair.
Superman.
Right. Which is the idea it looks like they're going for this new Superman movie, which I am so excited for.
Yes.
So just talking about this one today just only gets me more
Yeah.
jazzed. Because, man, this has been my movie of the year all year, and I'm so excited that we're only like 2 weeks away from it.
And I really did enjoy seeing. I forgot how big Christopher Reeves was.
Yeah.
I just enjoyed seeing him in scenes as Clark Kent because he's just like so big.
Yeah.
And it's just like cool to see that you're like Krypton.
Krypton.
Apparently, this guy is one of the biggest Superman we've had in terms
The
of body
newest
weight,
one?
Whoa.
which he said he's
Interesting.
6'4",
Yeah, he does look pretty tall.
6'4", jacked.
Jack guy.
That's so
Yeah.
Krypton.
That's what
It's
you
very
want. That's
Krypton.
what you want from Krypton. Yeah.
Krypton.
Ripton.
Chase, when you
What?
watch it, you should just start 45 minutes
Yeah.
in to prove the theory
Yeah.
of you don't need the first
That I
45
don't need it.
minutes.
Yeah, just
see,
skip
see how
it.
that
Like, genuine-
experience
Because
like-
goes.
I don't. I already know the
Yeah.
Superman
I can
backstory.
give you the exact scene of where the actual
Yeah.
movie begins.
Yeah.
Because like I said that to Kailey, where I said, okay, this is where the movie actually begins, because it just felt like the beginning of the actual movie. Like it felt
Mhm.
like an intro scene to the movie. Like you just forget about the last 45 minutes.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Weird that they. I mean, it makes sense. It made sense why they did it. Those early superhero movies, they were like, we have to explain how they got here.
Yes.
You can't just look at the poster and be like, well, he's a superhero. He's Superman.
Right.
He's the superhero. But I get it. But 45 minutes is a bit much.
Yeah.
That's too much. That's way
That's
too
like
much
a whole
time.
movie.
That's basically a whole movie.
Yeah.
That's an hour shy of the movie we'll be watching today.
yeah.
Yeah.
Marlon Brando was top billed in that movie, and Christopher Reeves was like third billed, even though he was super.
But I believe it.
Whoa.
Yeah. So Kailey just said, for people who didn't pick it up on the mic, that Marlon Brando was the top billed actor in that movie,
I
and
could believe it.
Christopher Reeves was the third billed actor. Well, this was like his breakout role.
I was going to
too.
say, was this Christopher Reeves like first?
He didn't get top billed in the third Superman
Until the third.
until the third.
Isn't
Superman.
Marlon Brando also in the second one for like as the hologram? Kal or Jor-El?
Yes.
Yeah.
I think so. Yeah.
So that makes sense. As long as Marlon Brando's alive,
It also makes
he's going to
sense
fight to get more money
because like
Yeah.
than everybody else.
the Krypton, yeah, the Krypton scenes
That tracks.
were so long. I feel because they had Marlon Brando that they're like, well, we got to use the most of Marlon Brando that we can.
Makes
So that's why the
sense.
Krypton scenes last
Krypton.
so long, so long.
Damn shame though.
They're just like talk. At one point, they're like getting ready to put Clark in the little pod, and they're just like talking for like 5 minutes, getting ready to put this baby in this pod. I'm like, we all know what happens. You're gonna put the baby in the pod, and he's gonna go.
Would you say the rest of the movie feels like that shit, like stage play, like you said, the Krypton stuff
Less
does?
so, less so. The Krypton stuff felt like the stage play. Like I said, it felt like the actual movie started once he got to like the Daily Planet.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
I'm gonna try to check this out. I'm before the Superman movie starts, but
Gotta do your research.
yeah.
They also do a time jump of 12 years from when he's 18 to 30, where he goes to the Fortress of Solitude, and then apparently he's there for 12 years. And Marlon Brando says this, where he's like, he like goes into like this fugue state where he like learns all of the information from Jor-El, and then at the end of it, Marlon Brando's like, oh, and by the way, 12 years have passed. You are now, and then like it
Well-
just cuts to him being Superman in Metropolis. It's like the time jumps are funny because they don't really telegraph them at all; they just happen.
Yeah.
And then it's like that's the movie. Once he's 30,
Yeah.
that's the real movie.
Huh.
Yeah.
It's a classic,
like in
though.
life.
Just like in life.
Yeah. Your life doesn't really start until you're 30.
If I was gonna make a musical about my life, I would skip all the stuff up until I was 30.
That's fair. I just turned
That's not
30
true,
this
though.
year.
You did just turn
I
30 this
did.
year. Yeah. How about that?
Yeah.
I'm turning 29 in
Yeah.
2 months.
Good for you.
29.
29.
29. 29. What else? You have any other new nerd shit, or was that your thing? What do you got? I haven't seen you in like 2 months.
I know. I do. I definitely do. I definitely do have other new nerd shit, but I'm not gonna get to them all.
So much to
Do you want
choose
to take a
from.
break? I can do one, and
Go
then you
for
can
it,
have
yeah.
another one.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna do. I have two. One of them's a little more kid friendly, so I wanted to start with the other one that wasn't as kid friendly. Because I think I talked about the first book with you of this series on the show like months and months ago when I read the first book, but I am now 5 books into this series and I am fucking obsessed. It's my new like obsession
What
series.
series?
And It is called the Sun Eater series. It's
Oh.
the first one only came out, I think, in 2017, so it's a relatively newer book series. The final book is coming out this November. It's called The Sun Eater, and it is a space opera type of series, science fiction fantasy based.
Yeah.
And it's basically this guy telling his life story of how he eventually, I don't know if he eats the sun. It's called the sun. He uses a sun to wipe out an entire race of people. And so you know that going into it. And then you start from when he's like a kid. And
Do you like him?
Hadrian Marlowe is his name. I love this character. He is such a well-written character. And the journey you watch him go on is because the guy's idea when he started writing this series, he was like, what if Darth Vader, but like if Darth Vader becoming Darth Vader was the good thing, was like good for the universe. And I was
Genocide is good.
like, so,
Ooh.
and I was like,
How
okay,
are they gonna spin this one? I'm
you
curious.
got me interested with that
Yeah.
premise. And you go from like him at like, I think it starts and he's like 16. So the whole first book, he's only about 19 by the time it ends. Because I've been calling this, what's crazy is I've been calling this a space odyssey, like a modern day Odyssey instead. And then at the end of the fourth book, which is probably of the first 5 books, my favorite, I thought it was such a good, it's the saddest of the books, but it was like a book where like this guy fucking just went there with the story. But he even starts referring to his life as like the Odyssey, because the premise, the setting is like thousands and thousands and thousands of years in the future. Like
Okay.
mankind on Earth created like AI. It's like if the Matrix, but instead of like people living underground, they decided let's fucking leave Earth and just get the fuck out of here and
Just
travel
go.
the universe. So like it's
they
thousands
go
and thousands
Krypton?
and thousands in the universe. Humankind is kind of like they're all living on different planets throughout the universe. The machines took over Earth. A god emperor, like this emperor that you find out about, that's the first in this line of emperors, like destroyed the robots that were taking over Earth.
Sounds
Mhm.
very
But-
Dune.
But by then, Earth was already fucked, so they had to just leave it. And how do I even want to put this? They create this fantasy world in the stars that is so. It is so like Lord of the Rings, Wheel of Time meets Star Wars that I just can't help
Whoa.
like just fucking
so
love
many
it.
things meeting each
There's
other.
different sex. There's different
Sex.
sex, like SECTS, sex.
Oh,
Not sex.
I was like they invented all different
No.
kinds of sex in the future.
Because there's
the
like
sex in the future
the
is
empire,
crazy.
like the Solan Empire, which is like the main empire that rules
yeah.
most of the galactic universe. They have like their own beliefs, and they worship Earth. Like there's this chantry that is like big in the political realm that like worships Earth, and like if you try to use technology too much, they shut that shit down because technology is what fucking caused Earth to go AWOL. But like there are other people, because there's planets that aren't a part of like the empire, like different groups of people that like do turn themselves into like cyborgs and shit. And like then there's like the
Yeah.
Cielson, which are the bad guy aliens that like we're at war with in this current time in the universe. And like they're fucking monsters. They're fucking monsters, man. They're the worst. But they're very close to human in like most spot. Like at the beginning of the book, Hadrian Marlowe is like trying to be like, we could probably try to understand these people and like make peace with them. So the first 2 books is like this character trying to like find a way to make peace with these things. And then they just you find out real hard that he can't make peace with them in just the worst possible ways.
I'm already
It's-
stressed out.
It's so good. Not that they
Yeah.
don't use technology, but like the
Does it
idea.
have a happy ending?
I'm 5 of the current 6 books in. There's happy moments and there's not
Current
happy.
6 books.
Well,
oh
there's a 7th
no.
book that comes out in November, and that's
Is
the
that
last
it?
book. Yeah. And there's novellas. So one thing I do like about the book is it's very true to like how space travel would work. So a lot of times when people are traveling between planets or to different areas of the universe, they have to like freeze themselves because it takes like a journey to one planet to the
Yeah.
other takes like 12 to 13 years. And like Hadrian, he's part of like there are genetically modified like upper class people that have like genetics that make them live longer than normal people, so because they're tied to like the god emperor's lineage sort of, and Hadrian is sort of part of that. So he has like a longer lifespan in general,
Right.
but he still like freezes himself. You learn like he's lived for like over 1,000 years,
He's like a Numenorian.
even though you're starting at like him at 16, but a lot of people like just freeze each other in between like flights, or like who's ever flying the ship, they'll do like 6 years. Time is, they use time's like nothing in this series. So like one book will
Ugh.
end, and then it's like maybe 200 years later by the time the next one starts. So there's a lot of like, they'll fill you in on the little moments, because this guy's just covering like the big moments of the story. But this writer, he writes novellas, and I've started kind of reading some of the novellas, because it goes into more detail of like these missions that have importance to the story, but they kind of just fill you in on. And it's just all so good. Like the way it's written is just so fucking good, man. I couldn't, like, I read the first book. I really liked the first book. It's a great start. Most starts in series like this, you just get a solid start. And then the second book just took it to another level. And then the third book was fucking insane. And then the fourth book was dark. Like Red Wedding
This
by the
rarely
end of it.
happens.
Lots of like so many people fucking, like,
So were you to be
I
depressed
finished the
reading
fourth
this?
book. I finished the fourth book, and it all weekend. I didn't have the fifth one on me. It was at my house. And I just thought about the last like 200 pages of that book. I was like, I can't believe they did that.
We'll do what it did to me when I read the Red Wedding
Possibly.
in Game of Thrones, where I was like reading Game of Thrones religiously up
Yeah.
until the chapter of the Red Wedding, and then I literally took 2 weeks off of reading the books, like reading them nonstop every day,
maybe,
and then taking 2 weeks off.
maybe because I mean, I'm just so into it. I'm obsessed with the series right now.
Yeah.
So even though the fourth book did leave me like, because it ends, because the real ending of the book, so like there's like 200 pages of setup to get to like the main character just being in a shit situation for literally the rest of the book. And then the last 100 pages, there's another kind of death scene, but it's a more like where everybody else who died like grotesquely and awfully. There's somebody that dies naturally, and even though it's a sad ending, it makes you feel a little better about it, because you got to watch a guy like die of like old age instead of just like fucking getting mutilated and
shit.
eaten and
Yeah.
teared apart. So
Fair.
it leaves you kind of just going, okay, I want to see where our character goes from here. Like, we know he's going to become this guy that ends up killing all these fucking things eventually. You know that at the beginning, and you
I
know he
forgot
destroys
about
like a
that when you
peaceful
were
planet.
explaining it. I
Yeah.
was like, oh shit, you're right.
So you're like, okay, I can see where this starts to happen. And then the fifth book kind of, you sort of see his journey as he's like healing from all of that.
So is that kind
It's
of
a really well put together series. And I'm
Yeah.
like pushing, because like I have the sixth book, but I don't want to read it yet.
How thick?
Most of them are about like 4 and 5 are only 500 pages,
Okay.
but the other 1, 2, and 3 were like 600-700 pages.
Dang.
So they're all pretty big books.
So is like
except
the
for
theme, like the issue, kind of like they're, like you said, like they're similar to us.
Yes.
That like they're too
They're like
similar
the
to
most
us.
of all the aliens, because there are other alien life forms that like
Mhm.
people have kind of like come and just
Obviously.
taken over,
Yeah.
kind of like we do. But they're the most similar to like humans, I guess.
Right.
They're like white, like very like silvery white, and they have like sharp fangs and shit. But they're like, they're bipedal. They're
Right.
they have a language.
Similar social
Yeah.
structures.
They
and
don't have like a
dynamics.
home planet. Like their whole thing is like they've lived along the stars, and you get into like some of the lore of why that is later on, and like you start to understand, because in the second book you're like, oh, these people are kind of like savages, and then by like the fourth book you get into kind of like their lore, their history, like why they are the way they are, and that's the fantasy element, because like our main character, he has like an ability that he gets. A lot of the fantasy stuff, like the whole first book, I'm just kind of like, and why it felt more like the Odyssey than anything else was it just felt like our hero was like on these different arcs throughout the first book of like, but the whole time I was like, where is this going as a series? Like, I'm watching this kid like, grow as a character, but where is the whole story supposed to be going? And by the end of the first book, you start to see that. And then in the second book, you really start to get into more of like where the whole story's going. And man, I love it. They have high matter swords, which are like their version of lightsabers.
Nice.
And not
Oh.
everybody had like there's very few of those in the series. Like the main character gets one near the end of the first book, but like those things are sick. I love high matter swords. Another thing
Sick
that I like
name.
about this series is like, in a lot of fantasies, if there's like if there's an emperor character, he's usually like somebody to hate. Like he's got,
Yeah.
and like you don't meet the emperor till the third book. So and like Hadrian at the beginning, he's a noble, but he like hates his family. He ends up getting like kicked off his planet for whatever reason. If you read the books, you'll find out why. But he has kind of like a stigma against the empire. But then when you actually, he becomes, I don't want to get into too much spoiler, but like you start to meet the Emperor, and I think the Emperor, in a refreshing change of pace,
Would
is
you call
just
it-
the coolest guy. Like he's a great, and he just
Yeah.
keeps proving, like he's a hard, stern Emperor at times, but when he is a G, you're just like, oh, this is so refreshing.
Yeah, it's
for the
refreshing having
Emperor
like
to
a
be like
competent
a good dude.
monarch.
Would
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
say?
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
Would
It
you
is.
say that the Emperor has this new groove?
I would
about
say
him?
compared to like Star Wars and other emperors, other stories where there's an emperor
Emperor's new
character,
groove, yeah.
to the point like
Nice.
I'm constantly worried this guy's gonna die. I'm like, he's too good to be true.
We love those
Oh
characters.
my god.
When you are afraid for their safety.
Yeah, and like you're afraid because this story very early on lets you know that like people aren't safe. Like characters will
Nobody's
die.
safe, yeah.
Especially when it gets to that fourth book. Holy fucking god. I wanted to just come on here and talk about the fourth book because after I finished it, I was like, I can't stop thinking. Like, I went from like, first book I liked a lot. Second book, I was like, oh wow, this is a great sequel. Like,
Yeah.
this more lore that we're kind of diving into this universe, really cool. Then the third book was just, they did the thing like with Lord of the Rings where like the first book's just kind of like getting the, people together. There's a
Uh-huh.
little bit of action here and there, but nothing too epic. Then the second one, it kind of builds. There's a little bit bigger of a skirmish. But then by the third book,
Skirmish.
same thing Wheel of Time sort of does, is like by the time you get to that third book, like there are just like big space battles, big fucking just big battles. Like that's what I like when fantasy like slowly builds to their like
yeah.
Are they realistic space
clashes.
battles?
yes, like
Do they shoot each other from thousands of miles away?
yeah, they like
Yeah.
everything is based around like
Because that's how real space battles would go.
How
They won't be
fights
right
work,
up next
too,
to each
they're
other.
like-
They'd be far away from
yes,
each other. Yeah.
and like sometimes you're waiting for people to come, and it's like we like. So I don't want to give too big of a spoiler, but like they have to go save the Emperor in the fifth book at one point because he's like trapped on
Cool.
another planet, and it takes them 3 years to get there.
Yeah.
So like the Emperor is just like trapped on this other planet fighting these bad guys with the people that are there for 3 years. Like
Yeah.
there's a lot of just talk of like lots of time passes before shit can ever happen. And you really as a reader, like at first I didn't know how I liked that. I was like, oh, is this really going to work? Like in the first book when he's young
Yeah.
and stuff. But once you get used to it, you're kind of like, all right. It's a little scary when
Yeah.
you start a book because you're like, well, how much time has passed? The fourth and the fifth book, I think I heard they decided to split it. It was supposed to be one book. Those were the only two that like it picks up right after. But the rest, it's always like,
Time jumps.
I think he's
Yeah.
like 30 something in the second book, but he's like, I was frozen for like 100 of those
Mhm.
20, So there's a lot of talk of that. The
Pure
action's
chaos.
good, the writing's good. I haven't put it down. I read both of these books, 4 and 5. They were 500 books, 500-page books. I read them each in like 4 days because I could not
Wow.
put them down.
Yeah.
I'm so into this series. I've taken my Wheel of Time break because I'm like, I gotta read this.
You
I
got
gotta,
me
Yeah.
interested.
I gotta read this right now because this is fucking
Sounds
awesome.
interesting.
And
And who rates them?
his name is Christopher Rocchio, I think his name is Christopher Rocchio. And I cannot say enough about like I think this is the only series he's ever written. He's amazing. For this
Yeah.
being his like first thing, it's so fucking good. Like it made me want to like you know me, I'm always like writing little things here and there. There's thoughts of
Yeah.
like maybe a book I'll write someday. I read this and I'm like, I'm not this talented. I'm not this talented. I'm not this creative. I think I know where the story's going, and then it doesn't, and it's just and like sometimes things happen that you're just like it almost feels like as a story it shouldn't work, but you're like, that's just how life works though. Like sometimes a character
Yeah.
dies and you feel like it should have been more epic, and you're like, actually this is sadder because it's just so like
Yeah.
they're just gone.
And it's really interesting concept knowing the ending when you start.
Yes. Because
Yeah.
you know that it's gonna get to this point and you're slowly figuring out like, oh, I'm
How does
starting
it
to
get to
see
this
how
point?
and
Yeah.
why.
And it makes you wonder,
Mhm.
did the author know where it was going to end before they started
I
too?
would like to think
Mm.
because he's been writing them, like the fact that there's 7 books that have come out since 2017 by the end, I think this
Yeah.
is a guy that knew his story when
Yeah.
he started
He had a
it
plan.
and has just been pounding them. Because other than Robert Jordan, I don't know anybody else that like is putting books out every year that are big monster
Yeah.
books. But yeah, it's my current obsession, The Sun Eater. The first book
Wow.
is called The Empire of Silence, and
That's some shit
they're
right there.
great books. They're like if the first one doesn't get you, because the first one I read very casually. I liked it a lot, But I was like just kind of picking at it. But I was like, I
Yeah.
like these characters. I want to see where this is going.
Fun.
The second one just got nuts, and the third one just got wild, and then the fourth one just got dark, and then the fifth one just got us back to square one again. And now I'm like, where's the sixth book gonna go, and how's it
Yeah.
gonna end? But
We always.
it's
love
good
that.
to be obsessed. Christopher Rocchio has like an Instagram page, and like they put some like artwork out because it's a newer series. You can't find a lot of stuff about it online,
Yeah.
but some of the artwork is really sick to
I'm
see,
sure
especially
it
when
is.
you've read the scenes. So you're like, oh, that's kind of how I pictured it. Really good,
Nice.
really good series. So yeah, that's one of my big obsessions right now.
And
is
it's
that.
called
Well,
Sun Eater.
The Sun Eater is the name of the series. Yep. Yeah.
I'll have to check it out.
And like I said, there's the novellas that like go into more detail of some of the stuff that you skip in the main series, which I'm going to start to kind of, because I'm taking a little break before the new one comes out in
Yeah,
November, and
you
I'm going
have
to
to
read
go
like
into
these
a
little
fresh-
novellas because it's
Yeah.
good to get like the full picture.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's hard to not get into too much detail because I would be spoiling a lot. I don't know if there's anything else I wanted to say about anything specifically, but fucking great.
Yeah.
Just great books. If you get the chance, listen to some of the audio because I'll read and listen while I drive on the van.
Oh, okay.
The guy that reads for it, I don't know what his name is, but he sounds like Jude Law. So
oh, I love
you just
that.
get this like so
We
like
love Jude Law.
Hadrian Marlowe's already a cool character, but when I'm thinking of him with Jude Law, I'm just like,
Yes.
oh yeah.
Fucking
It's not
pirate
Jude
and
Law.
skeleton crew.
Right. It's
Yeah,
not
but-
Jude Law, but he sounds like Jude Law. So it's like, I like this. I like
Yeah.
this a lot. So yeah, that's my thing right now.
Nice.
I got another new nerd shit thing that I'll talk about too, but I figured Braden, you had time to think maybe.
I'm gonna do my new nerd shit,
Okay.
and then we'll take a brief hiatus because I have to go pee.
Okay.
And then you'll do your thing.
Yep.
All right.
Okay.
Cool. So my last new nerd shit is a video game. It's called Claire Obscure Expedition 33.
Oh, Braden, we've already talked about this on the show.
When?
Me and Jake did a whole episode on it.
Fuck.
But
All
we'll
right.
talk. We'll talk about it more though. I can always talk about the best game of 2025. Go for it.
Okay, so you know the premise then.
Yep, we all do actually here.
The
Even Amber knows
Even
the
Amber
premise
knows
of
the-
this
Fuck.
one.
All right. I don't have much to say then. I was just gonna talk about the premise.
Tell
like
me
it.
how you
Well,
feel about it.
It's good.
It's a fucking great game.
It's a great
Did you
game. Have
beat it
you
yet?
played it?
Have I played it?
Yeah.
I just told you I did a whole episode on it.
No, I haven't beat it yet.
It's good.
How
good all the
many
way. How far are
bosses
you
have
into
you
it?
beaten?
I've just gotten
Act
to
1,
the
Act
point.
2, Act 3.
I'm not even Act 2 yet.
Okay.
I got we
That tells me what I can talk about.
we talked to Eski.
SKA.
We got Eskia,
Love
so
SKA.
we can use Eskia
Yeah,
now.
so-
SKA is
Cool.
my favorite character.
Is he?
Such a good one.
He's cool. Yeah, and so we've been doing SKA stuff. We have to find the stone
Mhm.
so he can
From his
the
fly.
stone.
Yep.
Yep.
Amber knows.
I do.
Yep. So that's what we're at.
Nice.
Yeah.
What?
So watch Brave New World. By the way, if
We
you
watched
decide-
Brave New World. We did watch Captain America: Brave New World.
Oh yeah, we talked about that too.
Yeah.
Did you think about it the same way I described it to you last time?
Remind me how do you describe it?
How I told you it was a movie that was just like, it wasn't good or bad. It just was.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I say yeah. You know,
Yeah.
they need new script writers.
Yeah. What'd you think of the line? Remember when I told you that I hated the line where she was like, "They make them in red now."
Yeah, it was dumb. It wasn't as like focused on as I thought it was gonna be. It was just kind of just like a background character that was like they make him in red now.
That's why I hated it. That's what made me hate
Yeah.
it the most. I was like, why did they add that?
Yep, and him talking him
It's like a
down
new
was,
iPhone color.
was dumb. I think they replaced China with Japan as the main aggressor nation
Mm.
because we can piss off the Japanese, but Disney does not want to piss off the Chinese, even though
Well,
it doesn't realistically make much sense that the Japanese would like be that belligerent towards the United States that they would like try and shoot down our jets and shit to go for adamantium. But
Different world
China-
though. Different
China's-
world though.
but
This is the
that-
world where Thanos
it is a
snapped everybody
different
out of the way
world,
for 5 years.
But you know who's also in that neighborhood that's a world power? China.
Yeah.
China was not mentioned at all. China was a
They
good
were
guy. China was
Yeah.
just, a peaceful nation minding their own business. They don't want this strategic resource for military means because China is a good market of
Yeah.
people that will buy Disney products.
Well, it's the second biggest
So
movie
the-
market.
the Japanese, though,
It Easy targets.
Easy targets. We know that they like.
We know that personally as Americans.
Yep.
They are easy
Oh,
targets.
God. Too soon.
Too soon.
No, it wouldn't. Iran would be too soon.
Yeah, there's that. You know, they
Not that.
Okay.
should have. I don't know. Done more
Getting the alcohol cockies.
Yeah, you're right.
characterization in the movie and not just relied on people watching The Falcon and the Winter Soldier.
Yeah.
Um,
Well, I think when we talked about this before, when we did the Star Wars episode, and I was talking about this movie, I said that I think Falcon and Winter Soldier should have been the movie. The plot with that would have worked better as a movie, and this would have been better as the TV show.
I think you needed Sebastian Stan with Anthony Mackie in this.
That's my favorite scene in the movie is when he shows
I think
up.
they work well together. And I just think like when Anthony Mackie doesn't have anyone to play off of, he's not like
Other than like
he's
two
not
characters that you wouldn't know if you didn't watch Falcon. and
right.
Winter Soldier.
He's not like that interesting of
Yeah.
a character to just see him by himself doing stuff, because Anthony Mackie is charming and he can
Yeah.
like do some cool scenes, but like he needs someone.
He
to,
was the only familiar face in the whole movie.
yeah, he needs someone to play off of. And, like
Yeah.
yeah, one of the best scenes was when Sebastian Stan, Bucky,
They
was
just
in
had
there.
like a boys moment.
yeah, like that was a cool scene.
Yeah.
But yeah, they needed more, and it was just like, blah. Why do I care about this?
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
such a just nothing movie. I remember Miranda and I watched it. I paid $30 for this fucking movie,
Ugh.
and it was just so.
I
nothing.
cried. I cried when Daniel Torres was hurt.
Yeah, did you?
My favorite character. I know so much about him. He makes great jokes. I cried.
He's the joke guy.
But that's my thing, is they don't do a lot to establish this character to the audience who did not see Falcon and the Winter Soldier. He's not that well established in Falcon and the Winter Soldier,
No,
but he's like
he's at least there.
one of the emotional cruxes of the movie is that he gets hurt and we're supposed to be like really concerned about him.
Oh.
And I'm like, I don't really know this guy that well.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's like
Yeah.
funny, I
Yeah.
guess,
Yeah.
because the movie wants us to think he's funny.
Mm.
And it's not a very of the Marvel movies. It's not even like trying to be funny most of the time. It's a
No.
very just like
Mm.
They have it, like they have
Boom.
it there because they know it's
It's there.
Marvel and
Yeah.
stuff, but like it just doesn't work.
it's just yeah. It's one of the ones
It's very much a movie that
people complain about Marvel humor and it pisses me off. This is one of the ones where I'm like, yeah, you're probably right to be mad
it
at
just
about
it
this
just
one.
felt like
No.
yeah,
Yeah.
it just felt like a corporate product that they had to make, not that they wanted to make it.
Yeah.
They had to make
You
it
can tell
because
the
they said
difference
they were going to
between
make
that
it.
and
Yeah.
like when I saw when me and Miranda saw Thunderbolts, I was like, yeah, this is more what I'm used to with
This
this
is it,
company
yeah.
of these. Miranda cried 3 times.
Yeah.
Falcon and Winter
That's fair.
Soldier, I mean, just nothing. For 2 hours, we just sat there and looked at a screen.
Now, do you think that it advanced the plot for future Marvel?
I
at all?
don't. That's why I watched
And
it because I
haven't
was
seen it,
like,
so that's why
I don't
want to
miss an episode of the MCU.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, I could have.
I was
could have
looking up
missed
I was looking
They
up
got
the,
maybe like a
reeled
little
in.
bit. Maybe
That's
like a
reeled in.
little bit.
I was looking up the discourse around it, and
Uh-huh.
like people were making fun of the post credits scene because all the
Terrible.
post credits
Absolutely
scene
dreadful.
is just is just the main villain of the movie.
I
He's
guess.
just like, you dealt with me. Well, guess what, superhero? You're gonna have to deal with other threats from these other worlds.
Dun,
Bum,
dun,
bum,
dun.
bum. I was like,
Yeah.
wow, we haven't seen that before.
Well, that's when we first
That's
talked
so
about
generic.
this. I
We-
said that it felt like Spider-Man 1994 series on like it felt like a cartoon. It felt like
Yeah.
I was watching which were good for cartoons, but we're
Yeah.
past that with
Yeah.
these movies. You can't
It
make
was essentially
a cartoon storyline for a movie.
it was essentially just them saying like, oh ho ho, you thought this movie was good. We're
Wait till the
making
next one,
other movies.
which you already knew.
That's what it felt like to
It
me.
was
It's just
bad.
like,
It was
yeah,
one of the
there's,
worst post-credit
yeah,
scenes.
superheroes are gonna have to fight other supervillains in the future. We from probably
We were
different
hoping that
odd
was going to be the
backgrounds and
case.
stuff. We know that.
Yeah.
That's
Now,
all
speaking
the
of-
scene told us.
Yeah. Speaking of post credit scenes, when's Hercules doing a thing?
That's gone.
Hercules,
They're not.
he's
they're
the
not-
guy.
Gone?
They're not doing.
He's
dick
Roy
with that.
Kent.
Roy Kent.
Roy Kent, the guy who plays Hercules, is Roy Kent
That's why I'm interested.
from Ted Lasso.
I
Yeah,
love Roy Kent.
fucking Roy Kent. Yeah, that's the guy they got
He's
to play.
here.
I don't
Hercules
watch
in-
He's
Ted
there.
Lasso, so I
He's
don't.
every fucking
Yeah.
Yeah,
where.
Roy Kent- he's-
You don't
Roy
watch Ted
Kent-
Lasso?
I don't.
You
What
would
is
like
wrong
Ted
with
Lasso.
you?
I've seen
Oh,
people
come
seem to like.
on.
I just haven't watched it.
No,
It's not
you
so much that
have
I'm
to.
like,
You never
I'm
finished
not
Ted
watching
Lasso.
this show.
You have
My mom watched
to.
it. Yeah.
Oh, it's so good.
Yeah, I've heard nothing but good things. I'll check it out.
But yeah, the guy who plays Roy Kent in
He
Ted
was
Lasso.
super or for
Yeah,
Hercules.
he's like the aging player.
Dude, they're not gonna do dick with that.
No.
Half the shit that they put out between like 2020 and 2020, like 3, is not gonna get a payoff.
Ugh.
As soon as
But
Bob
Roy
Iger came
Kent-
back, they were like, "We're gonna try to get this bus back to school."
Ugh. I
Yeah,
love Roy.
but maybe I could be wrong. They
He's
got
good.
planned.
Didn't he win an
Doomsday,
award or something? Yeah, he won an award for like best supporting actor.
Well, then
Golden
guess,
Globe.
I guess he'd make for a good Hercules if we
He
ever
would.
got payoff for that.
He would
But
make for a good.
I'd rather we
anything.
just forget that Thor movie like just entirely,
Ugh.
if you ask me.
I don't. I love the cheese.
Braden, go take a piss.
I gotta really piss. Yeah, I gotta really pee.
We'll do an ad
Gotta
spot
pee in the bowl.
do an ad
Do an
spot
ad spot while I'm
while
gone
you're peeing,
from our sponsors.
and then I'll get into my last new nerd shit, and then we'll get down to it.
I'm back.
Braden's back. We didn't do an ad spot.
I heard.
It works.
Sorry, guys.
Good. No, it's good to get that figured out.
Yay.
I'm gonna step outside for one. I have to slam this.
That's fine.
Go for it.
You're good.
Is it still recording?
It is still recording.
It's been recording the whole
We
time.
can cut
I've been,
this.
I've been keeping. Yeah, I am gonna cut this. I'll
Or
probably
leave
cut
it.
from the point you leave for the bathroom,
or leave it.
or leave it. Depends
could
on
leave
how
it
well
too.
you got picked up. With what you said, I'd keep that if I could hear you. But if not, it's just gonna sound weird of me being like responding
What did
to
she
some
say?
just other things about the movie, like how it was shot, like how you could tell where the reshoots were. And
Oh yeah, with the reshoots and
Yeah.
stuff. Where I said like I can tell when something's like hyper edited if like the cuts start to make me sick. The entire opening sequence made me sick
the
because
fighting is bad.
it
The way they cut the fight sucks.
No one is in the same room with each other. They're all shot in separate locations and you can tell because like
Wow.
any shots where like two characters are in the same scene together, one is from like a back profile and it's ADR dialogue, and yeah, like most of the time it's just like close up shots of people's faces because they don't want it to show that like yeah these people aren't in the same room together. All of Gus Fring's scenes, Giancarlo Esposito, who just plays Gus Fring character again because people just love him as a villain.
It's what made
All of
Ian
those
McKellen
scenes,
bring down Monday.
all of those scenes are added in, and you can tell that like, yeah, this wasn't originally the plan.
I said it's what made Ian McKellen break down Monday from the Hobbit
Yeah,
because it was.
he's
Yeah.
so sad because he's like because Ian McKellen was like a veteran stage actor and is used to acting off of
Yeah.
people and environments and not a green screen.
Yeah,
Wild. Bringing it full circle.
truly,
Yeah.
truly. What do you think about that? You think you could work with a green screen?
It's hard.
I'd imagine.
It's hard. And do you know what else is different in live theater than movies? You only get one shot.
Right.
Yeah,
One
so the
opportunity.
pressure
is on.
is there.
Here you waste a lot of money though if you don't get it in the first shot.
I feel like
That
you can
too,
get, you
but-
get some crazy good performances that way though, because I don't know. I feel like that like you can get
You
some
got to bring it.
big bombs in there, but you can also get some like real like I
Yeah.
don't know, just the thought that like you got to nail this. You know.
You only get one
As somebody
shot.
that's done stage acting, yeah, I feel like when I'm out there, I had this scene when I did the Diary of Anne Frank. I played the dentist like character, and he has like this freak out at one point, and I went crazy with it, and
You
I
have
told
to.
the guy that played Mr. Frank, he like I was like, dude, I just want you to just throw me, just like he was a big dude, and I was just like,
Yeah.
I want you to just throw me, like just I won't get hurt, I'll be fine.
Yeah.
And like we did, and I was like, that was fucking awesome.
Yeah.
That dude, he was cool. His name's Terry. He passed away a few years ago.
Oh, R.I.P.
Cool dude.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
New level.
My
What-
new nerd shit.
New
My
nerd shit.
official new nerd shit. Something that
Oh.
I am currently just blown away by, passionate about,
What are you passionate about?
and has been talked about on the internet. I know a bunch, but I'm new to this, and I just want to say my piece about it.
What?
Bluey is an exceptional piece of children's, if not family, programming. Bluey
This is what I've heard.
is
Yes.
so
is.
goddamn good. It's unbelievable.
I can attest.
Believable.
Unblue-
Unbelievable. But to people who don't know, Bluey is a children's show. It's from Australia. It's on.
Australia
I watch it on Disney Plus, but I think it's on like Nickelodeon
has to be
and
on everything.
it's on like
at this
everything.
point, yeah.
7-minute episodes of television.
Which is
of,
wild.
Of this
also.
dog. Her name is Bluey. She's a little blue dog. She's a little sister named
Bluey.
Bingo, and her dad and mom. They're the main family.
Bandit and
Chili.
Chili. Yep.
The healers. That is their last name.
Because they're blue healers.
And they're blue healers.
Makes sense. Makes sense.
And it's just a show about raising children.
Yep.
Healthy
Healthy parenting.
healthy social dynamics, all of it. It's all in there, and it's an emotional thrill ride, if not just a show that makes you happy. Thinking of Ted Lasso, a lot of people tell me it's a very feel-good show. Bluey is like that in 7-minute increments. You get a full piece of cake. I don't even. You get a full meal almost every episode. Not every episode has the emotional banger, but a lot of them have the emotional banger. I'm talking.
It's like the Willy
I'm
Wonka
talking-
gum.
I'm talking like remember when Scrubs came out and it was like new to see like a show that could be so goofy and funny, also be emotionally compelling.
Sure.
That's what
Yes.
Bluey kind of is. It's like this kids show that does like all the kids show stuff, but can throw in like something that will make you cry
Yeah.
somewhere in the episode.
There's some like deep cut.
It's
into it.
amazing, and that's just part of what makes it good. The other part of it that makes it good is there's lots. All the characters, every character, even the side characters. I don't even know the names of a lot of the side characters. They're all good.
Except
And
for
all unique.
Muffin.
And all individual. Muffin. Okay, so Muffin is Bluey's cousin.
Muffin's
She's
like shit.
she's a little
Yeah.
shit.
Muffin serves her purpose
She
of what
serves
she's
her
supposed to
purpose.
be.
Like she,
yeah.
you see Muffin and
She's
you
like
think
the
to
spoiled
yourself,
cousin.
you think to yourself, okay, we all know
We all
somebody
know a
like
Muffin. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's kind of endearing. So you don't really mind. Like you
I think the
expect Muffin
3
to be
episodes
like
I've
a brat.
seen have Muffin in
Muffin.
them.
Yes.
She even
Yep,
has like this
that
annoying.
one.
Muffin's like the bad
voice.
cousin
Yeah.
that like is spoiled and gets
Yeah.
into mischief
There's
a
an
lot.
episode where Muffin's dad tells her that she's the most special kid.
Yeah.
And then she causes a whole problem because she thinks
Ah.
she's the most special.
Yeah.
They solve it by the end. They always solve the problems. But I mean,
That's what
This
really
is a
makes a
show-
feel good
low
show.
stakes stuff
Low
all the time.
stakes.
Just like family, like minor
Sure.
family drama
Sure.
stuff. Yeah.
and they go about it. I mean, the parents, but Chili, and I aspire to be Bandit. I mean,
Oh, he's like the quintessential. Did you ever see that clip of that one podcast of women that the one girl was talking about how much she wants to fuck Bandit?
no. Like I said, I'm all new to the Bluey.
I'll show you
all of
later,
it.
but there's a clip out there of like they're doing like their hear me out stuff, and
Yeah.
she was like,
yeah.
"Hear me out, Bandit from
Yeah.
Bluey." She
He's
finds him
funny.
sexy because
He's,
he's
a
like
chill bro.
a healthy dad.
He's
yeah.
I
a
was
good
gonna say,
dad.
hopefully this is the dad.
It's, yeah, I think
parent.
it's like the
Yeah.
his confidence.
I
Yeah,
love this guy. I mean, this show genuinely makes me laugh. Like, this is a show for my child. But Miranda and I have put it on with him not there. I've
Yeah.
seen the whole series over by this point many times. That's why I felt confident coming in here and talking about it, because I was like, I need to let my thoughts out about this
Yeah.
show.
Oh, Carter went through a Bluey phase. He doesn't watch
Carter
Bluey
loves
much
it.
anymore. Like he still likes Bluey, but he doesn't like that's not his main thing anymore. He's interested in other things. But when he would watch Bluey, we would watch it together.
How do you not?
And then he would like leave the room and go take a nap or something, and I would just let it play
Yeah.
on the television. I would just watch like 3 episodes by
Yeah.
myself of just like full attention, just watching Bluey.
Yeah. When it's on, I am zoning in, and a lot of times I'll just catch parts of episodes. Like sometimes Miranda and I will have conversations where I'm like, I actually saw how he got from point A to point B. There was one
Yeah.
episode the other day that I was like, I've only seen pieces of each of these at certain times. I didn't know they were all the same episode even.
Whoa.
And like, I mean, dude, I'm telling you, I am
yeah.
in tears a lot of the time because of like some of the stuff
Just wholesome.
it touches on. It just hits you out of nowhere with these kind of things, mixed in with like the beautiful music and the beautiful animation of
Oh,
just
yeah.
a simple kid
Yeah,
show.
very pretty
the
show.
games they play. I mean, it's so like the parents just commit. The parents commit to the pretending, playful things that the kids are doing, to the point that like the kids are in control, and you just watch these parents like in the moment figure out how to give the kids exactly what they need, but
Mhm.
take back control.
Right.
as
Yep.
parents, and it's so
Keep their
just, like,
sanity.
there's
Yeah.
an episode where
That's
like
great.
they're using magic, fake magic, and everybody's just committed to like being
Yeah.
affected by this magic to the point where the parents are like getting thrown out of their yard, or like they're struggling, but they find a way to like teach the lesson still because everybody just commits to the pretend so hard. And it's
Just
so,
like
it's
live
so good.
theater.
just like live theater. It is.
Yeah.
And wow. I mean, I could sit here and talk about many episodes that have just hit me on different levels. Like the funny aspect. The dadliness of Bandit makes me laugh all the time. There's an episode where Bandit and Chili, the mom and dad character, are hungover from New Year's.
Yes.
And they have to like play with their kids. And like they don't flat out say they're hungover, but they're
Right.
talking about New
It's all
Year's.
implied.
The Bluey's like, yeah, Muffin said she saw you dancing on the table last night, and like the mom can't get off the couch, dad can't get off the
Yeah.
floor. I'm like, holy fuck, this is a crazy. Like
so
they
real.
get into kind of these more real things that you wouldn't expect, but they do it so tastefully. And
Yeah.
then there is an episode. There is an episode of Bluey. Everybody knows it if they know the show. It's the only episode that's 30 minutes long. It's the season 3 finale. And it's this episode where they're selling their house.
Selling their house.
The parents are very.
Parents are very
Parents are
serious.
very
The
serious.
parents are
There's a
very
wedding.
serious the whole way through. There's a wedding in the middle of it because Bandit's brother, I can't remember the brother's name. Though another thing I have to comment on, everybody's name in this series is like a dog's name. Like there's Bandit and there's Blue. Like everybody's got
Chili,
like
yeah.
like there's an episode where like the dads hang out at the park. It's two dads that don't really know each other, and he's just like Bandit, Fido. They all just have these kids' names. But so they're selling their house, and everything's a little more serious than usual. Bluey's figuring it out really early on. Bingo doesn't really know what's happening, so she's just like, whatever, like, yeah, blah, 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 whatever. So you're going through this episode, and it's like funny too. Like I'm laughing because it's so serious.
Yeah.
Like there's like Bluey goes to school and they're all starting to talk about like the kids are talking to the teacher about problems they're having at home. And like 3 kids have some pretty serious problems that they bring up.
Yeah.
And then Bluey's just like, I might be moving away and I'm never going to see any of you ever again. Ah! And it's sad because you're like, as a viewer, you don't know what's going to happen. Like the way the whole episode goes, you're like, they're going to move from this town and this house in this fucking episode, and it just out of nowhere. And I knew something was gonna be crazy because it was 30 minutes and the rest of them are all 7 minutes
Yeah.
fucking long.
It's like the end game Bluey.
But like there's just
Yeah.
a lot of serious conversations that take place throughout this episode about real life shit, and that maybe some things that kids get like just thrown into. Like there's this
Yeah.
whole scene where the wedding almost falls apart because the girl, I can't remember her name, she thinks they're staying there. And the husband character, he's like, no, we're going to move after we're moving somewhere else. And like that almost causes it all to end. So then Chili and Bluey have to go find the girl character, the wife, because she ran away from the wedding.
Yeah.
And they go and they get her. And it's like a whole thing because like Chili takes all the kids with her because nobody else can watch the kids. So she's like dealing with like, I
Oh,
got to get this
man.
girl, my best friend, to marry this guy with these kids in
Oh,
tow. And in the
no.
middle of it, Chili has a breakdown where she's like, I don't want to move. Like, this isn't what I want.
Of course.
And like they're all having, and it's just like the wedding finally happens, but it's just like there's so much emotion before it actually happens, and then it cuts to like the family at the house having like things packed up. So you're like, oh, this is happening. Like they're selling this house, and they're going to like get ready to leave, and Bingo, the little sister, is just like,
What's her name?
she's
Oh,
like,
yeah.
I gotta go grab something. Like I gotta, and they're like, we're leaving, and like, because the whole episode you've been like, oh, she's young, she just doesn't know what's happening, and then you're like, she's young, she doesn't know what's
Oh,
happening. So like, this is
no.
where I start to cry because Bingo realizes at the end like we're fucking leaving, and
Oh,
it's like
no.
it's so sad the whole way through. And there's like a little part where when they go to like find the runaway bride, where they have like they find a coin. They find a coin, and they talk about this coin. It seems like this loose plot thread, and they go to put it into this thing, like one of these binoculars, so they can see, but it doesn't work. And they just give it. They're just like whatever about it. Okay.
Uh-huh.
So there are these characters throughout the episode. These, I think they're poodles. I don't know what they are. They're buying the house. but they end up at this binocular thing, and they're looking around. One of their complaints when they were looking at the house originally was it didn't have a pool. So they get on this thing and they see a house like for sale, like through that has a pool, and they decide not to buy the house anymore. And then there's this
So
emotional dude. I'm telling you, they're about to leave. Bandit, Bluey, the whole family. And this, like, I don't know what band sings this song. It sounds like Florence and the Machine just comes on, and the dad character just goes and stares at this for sale sign while his family's like crying about leaving in the car, and he's just staring at it, and he just takes the fucking sign, and he throws a sign, and they all go back into the house. It's all like everything's gone, but they're eating like dinner on the floor, like, you know, because they don't have any of their furniture.
Yeah.
But like you're so happy because
You're
they're
so
staying.
relieved.
But like the whole episode through, you thought they were leaving.
Ugh.
I like. This is like Bluey the movie, where like before it was just Bluey. This one's like the movie because it just hit these themes that they couldn't do for general broadcasting or something.
Oh god.
So good. So fucking good. And the whole show, and that's the thing, I saw this episode, I thought about it the whole next day at work, and I talked to Miranda about this, and I was just like, the thing about this episode is it's a perfect episode.
Yeah.
But I would never show it to anybody as the first episode.
No, you have to be
You have
invested.
to kind of
You have
get
to be
know the
connected with the
Yeah.
characters.
and the show does a good job. 7 minutes, it flies through.
7
You're gonna
minutes.
get connected to these characters and these side characters because they're all just really compelling, different. Oh my god, there's this one episode where they play a game at a birthday party, and the dad at the birthday party wants to play it differently than it usually is played. Usually, like, everybody gets a prize from this
I've
thing.
done this at a birthday
Yes,
party.
so
or
you
two.
know this game, but he decides like, no, the person that wins is the one that should just get anything. And at the beginning of the episode, all the kids fucking hate it. He's upset, like you think this dad's like really fucking up, but then like as the parties go by, the kids start to learn like actually this is a better way to play. So then by the end of the episode, they're like begging for that way to play, and he's one of the dads, so he's just at the party and he's like, what? Like he's really happy that they all want to play. It gets to the point where like he's playing the music and he's bummed about it. I'm just like, yes,
Yeah.
this is a perfect example of like how good this show can be. Because then like you're learning a life lesson through this, but it's also
Yeah.
funny and charming, and
That's what it's best at.
it's a kid's show, but
Yeah.
it's so good. And
I'll
when we
say-
watched The Sign, Sora was asleep. Miranda had seen it
Yeah.
because like I was reading about episodes. Sora's asleep.
Uh-huh.
She's like, "Oh yeah, I think I caught that episode," and I was like, "I need to watch this right now." Like
Yes.
the next morning, Sora woke up. I was like, "Bro, we watched the best episode of Bluey last night.
You
Without
missed
you.
it.
Like literally the best." Like I can
Yeah.
have that show on nonstop, and I even episodes I've seen now 4 or 5 times, I still don't care.
I've seen a few episodes multiple times
Yeah,
now
no
at this
doubt.
point. It's easy.
Easy.
To,
It's-
very
Every
watchable.
season has like 50 episodes.
I remember seeing the one episode made me cry.
Yeah.
Of I don't know if it's the same aunt you're talking about in the movie episode, basically.
Oh, I
but
think it's a different one, but
where
I think I know.
she's like the mom. I forget
Pregnant,
the mom's
or-
name. Or
yeah.
she goes, she really wants something, but she can't have it.
Yeah.
And it's like in child terms, she can't have children.
Right.
And I was like, oh my god,
Yeah.
they're actually talking
Yeah.
about that.
The fact that they got that's a different character. So that's Chili's actual sister.
Okay.
The runaway bride, I guess, is like a sister-in-law. But here's the thing: I'll give you a little spoiler for the sign
she
episode.
ends up having
She's pregnant
Yeah.
in that episode, which is weird because
What?
I thought
Whoa.
Miranda showed me that episode after the fact. So I was just like, I feel like I would have enjoyed this more if I thought like, because then I wasn't sure what the message was. I was like, can she not have kids, or like is she just not finding somebody to
And
have
these
a kid
dogs
with?
are
Oh, God.
anthropomorphic, so they have human pregnancies.
Right? Yeah. Yes.
So they only have one child.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
I
Cool.
just wanted to mention that next year we teach a PBIS program, which is basically social emotional learning,
Mm-hmm.
which is a program for schools that are pretty rough with students who are lacking social emotional learning.
Most.
And I just
Mhm.
plan on showing Bluey episodes. And I know teachers who have
There we
done
go.
this.
Yeah.
Who show Bluey episodes, and then we talk about life lessons. In
I mean,
them.
that's
I think
they're-
that's a good idea.
and these are
I
sixth
really
graders, but I think they would.
I don't care. I'm a 33-year-old man, and
I
I'm
wouldn't.
sitting here like,
I would
this
not
is
doubt. I'd have to
beautiful.
look into like the credentials behind the writers and people who like produce and make Bluey. But I
Joe
would not.
Brumm.
I would not doubt if they brought on
Yeah.
some like early childhood like education /
Yeah.
social emotional therapists or social workers or whatever to help work on the show, because like all of the stuff in it is just like examples of good parenting, good like healthy family dynamics,
Even
and, like
when it's like
conflict resolution and stuff
Yes.
like
there's
that.
one
Yeah.
where a kid goes to Bluey's house to play with Bluey and Bluey's dad plays this game called Octopus, and it's crazy. And then that kid, you follow that kid home and she's trying to teach her dad how to play that game, and he's not good at it. And
Ugh.
she flat out says, like, "You're just not as good as Bluey's dad." And then they have a conversation about like why that, like he goes to his computer and he starts reading up on octopuses, and they start connecting
Aw.
again, and they find a way to play the game just differently, and they add stuff to it because he's like, "Well, Dad, that's not what octopuses do." And then when they're talking, he's like, "Well, it's funny. It seems like every time we play, you say that's not what octopuses do." And you know, they like talk their way through. It's so good
Yeah.
because at first you feel bad for this guy because he's, you know, you as the viewer are
You know,
like,
he's trying his
"Man,
best.
it's the coolest."
Yeah.
Nobody can live up to this guy,
Right.
but you're seeing like how you can kind of work your way to still, and then
Yeah.
Bluey comes over and they play like this different version of the game, and it's
Yeah.
still fun, if not better, because of what they added to it. Yeah, it's good, man. It's
That's wild. And I've only
Bluey.
seen about 3 episodes, maybe 2.5.
yeah,
But what I think is so interesting about it is that it's a kid's show, not just from the perspective of the kid,
Yes.
which I think is really important. Because if you think about Rugrats, right?
yeah.
That was only the perspective of
Yeah,
the
the
kid,
adults
but-
were there,
yeah.
but not
No.
like this.
Yeah.
Or like Charlie Brown when the adults were like, wah, 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 wah,
Yeah.
wah, wah,
Right.
wah, wah.
Not even
And-
a factor, just
Yeah.
a peripheral.
Exactly. And it's really, and sometimes for children, it's even more helpful for them to say, oh, wait, there's other perspectives
Yeah.
other
Right.
than my own.
Right.
Look at
Yeah.
these adults.
What's going through my mom and dad's brain right now?
Mhm.
When my mom and dad are hungover, maybe I shouldn't bang on the pots and pans.
Maybe I shouldn't make them
Well,
pretend
that's-
to be a boat and a whale.
Well,
You
that's what I
know?
say. Like, it's definitely a kids show, but it's a kids show designed with adults in mind.
Yeah.
Because there are things in there that only adults can understand, so like they are writing it partly also for the parents. Like I said, it's a show mainly about healthy parenting and healthy family dynamics, and I think it's supposed to teach like
Yeah.
some parents some things to like get through as much as it is to teach the children who
agree.
are watching it. Like,
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
they should throw in just for one episode, like, because there are no like shitty parents in Bluey. Like, you never run into like the side shitty
yeah.
character, which I think would be a fun dynamic if they ever did. I get
Yeah,
why they
just like a
don't.
gen-
I think they're
Genuinely
going to
bad
build
parent.
up to it.
Right.
yeah, a bit too real.
Yeah,
too real
it
for like
is a bit too
what
real,
they're trying
Wait,
to go
does
for. But
Bluey age? Do any of the kids
There
age?
is a birthday party in some of them, but like there are some episodes that will shoot like there's this one where Bluey makes a friend when she's camping and he speaks like French, but they bond. Like they don't
Yeah.
have any idea what they're talking about
that happened
together.
to me.
And they hang out in the, you know, but then Bluey goes back to, like, it goes through a course of days of them playing and yada yada. You get the vibe like Bluey's like, "I'll see you tomorrow," and the French kid's like, "I'm leaving
I'm
tomorrow." You don't
going
know,
back to
but you as a
France.
viewer are getting that. But Bluey doesn't get it, and Bluey goes
Ugh.
back the next day, and her friend's gone, and
That's
mom
happened to me
has to
so
explain
many
that.
times
But
as
they-
a little only
they do
child
a-
at the beach.
Like they plant like a tree. They plant a seed or something at one point together, and then they do like a time jump to like Bluey being a teenager. So you see her as like older at that campsite again, and the French friend, and they're under the tree. They find each other under the tree, and it's like so you get these little moments where they'll
Okay.
do like a time jump, but it's
Yeah.
just in the moment.
Because I was going to say, maybe they're waiting. Maybe it's like Harry Potter where you grow up with the...
No, I think they'll stay this age, which is perfect. There are birthday parties.
Yeah.
Like Bingo has a birthday party one episode, but I think Bluey's like 5 or 6.
I'm going to give it a year until they announce a Bluey musical. About 3 years until
Oh, it's
it goes on
happening, yeah.
Broadway.
Bum,
it has to.
bum.
That's just my professional
they're-
opinion.
yeah.
I know
They better be
nothing about
Australian.
it.
That's half the fun of it too. Everybody's
Mm.
I
Australian.
feel like
It's all Australian.
they've just
talk.
begun with the marketing and the merchandise and the
Yeah.
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 Anytime I've gone to Disney, all the dads are wearing a Bluey shirt.
I thought it was overrated. Like going into like the Sora being born, like, you're gonna watch Bluey, and I was like, I'm not gonna watch these things.
You might have sold
in
me on it.
April we put it on, and I mean it has not. That's how we start every day. Is Sora wakes up, I give him his bottle, he sits on the couch and watches Bluey, and I watch it with him.
There you go.
It's good. Yeah, it's good. So that's all I had for my new. I really thought talking about Bluey on the episode where we were going to talk about another Disney thing. I don't know if Bluey's Disney, but it's a kids thing. I thought it was
Yeah.
appropriate.
There we
So
go.
That's what I got. That's what I'm glad.
That's some shit right
glad we
there.
kind of found our way back, even though the computer fucked up.
Yep.
But
I feel
I'll
like we
figure
talked
that out in post.
we talked about Bluey the longest, almost one of the longest.
Maybe.
Yeah.
I could probably talk about it more and more and more. There's so
Chase
many.
was
I talked
holding
about
it
Bluey
in
for a while. Yeah,
I
can talk about
texted you.
Bluey.
I texted you about it.
Yeah.
Not that long ago. It was after I watched the Sign episode the first time I saw it, and that's not an episode I watch over
You
a lot.
bottled it up too long. You had to let it out.
Yeah, I wasn't even originally going to talk about it tonight. Like Miranda kind of brought it up to me, and I was like, you know what? I think this would be a good vibe to talk about Bluey, because I knew you had seen it.
Yeah.
You know, so I was like, this is probably a good time. So, all right, we're gonna hop off and we're gonna watch High School Musical 2, and we're gonna come back and talk about it. So, see everybody later.
Deuces.
We're back. We're back on the podcast.
Oh, yes.
Hello.
We have
Yes,
just
yes,
finished
yes.
watching High School Musical 2, the follow-up to High School Musical.
One? Yep.
One. Yeah.
The prequel to High School Musical, the third. Yeah, that was a film. That was a movie. That was a TV. That was a made-for-TV
That was
Disney
a
Channel.
All
for
movies
TV.
That
was
was a,
one of
yeah.
them.
Okay, hold on.
We're holding.
My whole perspective, this whole thing just changed in the middle of talking about this. But
Just now?
I'd say just now. I'd say when it comes to, because I got to remember what this movie is. I'm sitting here watching this movie as a movie, but it's a Disney Channel original movie.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's a pretty good quality Disney Channel original movie.
That is the
I did not like this movie,
that is the
but it's
first
good quality.
that is the first Disney Channel original movie I'd ever seen.
Shut your
And
stop.
It's
I've had
I'm
enough
gonna
of these
keep doing this.
conversations with you.
and
What?
it set the standard for all Disney Channel original
Good
movies after
fucking
that.
Christ. That was the first.
This was the movie that made Disney Channel original movies kind of like real players in the
Yeah.
game. That like because this
Like,
Like I said,
getting
It's
your
when they started
head
to make
in
their
the game.
transition.
this was the movie that it was like, you know, this is where it became clear this was a superstar factory.
I suppose.
Yeah, that like because I mean
The first one, at least, not this one.
three was theatrically released after this, and they would not have done that if 2 did not do well.
Well,
Yes.
2, watching this movie, 2 exists and probably continued going on and got the views that made it go to the third because everybody liked 1 so much.
Yes.
Because this movie sucked. This movie, look, this movie felt the whole way through. We got to make another one of these the whole way through. This sucked.
There's a whole group of people that believe this is the best one.
And I've heard from these people, and I think
I
you're
don't
allowed to
think
think
this
it's
is
your
best
favorite.
one.
I don't think it's a high bar. I don't think it's a high bar.
He thinks this is the best one.
Okay,
Nothing
watching
wrong
it-
with that.
Watching it again, I like the. I think it has some of the best music. Plot wise, it is lacking. It's
It's
less
not
of a
good.
cohesive story.
There's not a High School Musical. So
Yes.
this is the first High School
Yeah.
Musical
Maybe that's why
movie
it doesn't
I
make
saw. So I saw this one because I was
Ah.
too young to watch the first one when it came out on TV.
Of course you were.
So yes,
Mm.
I bought this one
I
at
thought I was
Toys
too
R
old to
Us.
watch it.
Watched it a lot. Then I bought the first one
Bought it
and
at
watched
Toys
that
R Us.
one. Yes, when Toys R Us was still a thing. And then I clearly realized that the first one is much better. And then the third one came out in theaters, and I was like, "Holy shit, this is the best one!" But we have not watched that one yet. So
Mhm.
I can't. I am looking forward to watch.
But
I
I think
feel
I'm
like the
biased
third
about it.
one,
It definitely has the
Without-
highest budget. The third one, does.
right?
Yeah,
That alone has
Yeah.
me at least like I'm interested. There's
like, I will say that there's a scene for one of the music scenes. They do the Inception spinning room. You know that scene.
In the third one?
Yeah.
Yes, and that was
Uh-huh.
done before, around the same time. Inception
Around the same time, yeah.
came
they
out.
did it first. I think.
They did it first. Christopher Nolan
Let's
stole
check that. We gotta check that out. We gotta
Whoa.
look into that. I don't know
we
about
got
that.
fact check.
I
They
don't know
both
about
came out in
that.
2009,
They did.
or maybe I think Inception came out in 2010. High School Musical 3 came out in 2009.
I was in high school when Inception came
Jamie,
out.
pull that up.
And Jamie, could you get that for us, dude? Let us know.
2010.
Did it
High School
really?
Musical 3 came out in 2009.
Wow.
When did Halloween Town come out?
The
That's
first
what
one?
I would like to know. Because I'm about to make a comparison.
That's a movie I would rewatch.
Yes.
Halloween Town, fuck me up.
Halloween Town 1, 2.
I've seen Halloween
Hi.
Town like in recent years.
1998, the first one.
That vibes.
I never liked
Yeah.
in Halloween Town
That
how the little
tracks.
brother was just a little bitch about having warlock powers. Like he was just like wrong about it the whole time. Like he's just like, well,
But then he
like, I'm not
figures
gonna
it
do something.
out, you know?
He
Yeah.
does, and then like I don't know. I feel like he has the same character arc like 3 movies in a row where he's just like, I don't like magic.
That's a little bit of the problem I had with this movie.
Yeah.
They were just like, let's just do it again, but not as good. To me, like it was just like, what else? What can we do? We got to get this movie out in a year.
But the
What are we gonna do?
But the social commentary,
Tell me about the social commentary.
it's very obvious. Not as a child, but watching it now. It's
Okay.
like Kenny Ortega had something to say
What was it?
What do you have to say?
about race relations, about class.
You think?
Yeah. Sharpay,
Mm-hmm.
his dad owning this country club, obviously rich, trying to influence Troy Bolton to take him away from his friends, buying him
Yeah.
away from his friends, who happened to be, I don't think it was a coincidence, all persons of color.
Minorities.
Minorities. Yes.
I
I think they're saying something.
As best
Yeah.
as they
There's a
could in a
deeper
movie in
meaning,
but-
2007
deeper
on Disney Channel.
I don't think they say it as well as Bluey would have.
No.
I don't think they
No.
would. No, of course they didn't. They couldn't have. They couldn't have. I don't even. I think Bluey can only do it too because it's out of Australia. Like even in America, they couldn't make Bluey.
Everything's upside down there.
But yeah, yeah. The Christmas episode, they're fucking swimming in the pool. But this is not a Bluey. This is no longer Bluey.
Would you say that those undertones are there?
I would say that those undertones are there, but they're addressed in a very Disney Channel at the time way of like
I think it's more
Yeah,
like
I
a
almost
sprinkle.
feel like I almost feel like you have to look for. I don't even know if Disney
you
did
do have
that
to
on
look for it.
purpose.
Yeah,
you,
I
you
think
almost have
you
to
have to
just
get very
look.
Yeah.
English teacher
Yeah.
with it of like you have
Yeah.
to dig
How
into the
intentional was
subtext.
it?
Yeah,
I think,
they were already cast like that anyways.
Yeah.
In the first one, they had to give them some role,
but I think
which
just,
is what half the cast
just thinking
is
of
here
the director, Kenny Ortega, who
For.
was
Who does he?
so he choreographer of Dirty Dancing.
Wow.
Also directed
Wow.
later on Disney Channel hit Descendants,
Okay.
and he also was the choreographer for the Michael Jackson like big world tour
Oh,
throughout his career.
Mm-hmm,
So he's been in the business.
Very odd array of choices in his business.
Yeah.
He was like, I'll do Dirty Dancing and I'll do High School Musical 2.
and then I'll do.
Well, no, he
Three.
did all three.
All
All three.
either way. Either way.
All successful projects, by the way.
Yeah, I guess so. But
for the masses.
yeah, I don't
successful
think
project.
quality wise Dirty Dancing and High School Musical 1 through 3 are on the same level of like instant classic.
I think for
I'd
what
say-
it
I'd
was.
say some people think High School Musicals are classics.
Yeah, because they were 7 when they saw it, so of course it's a classic.
Talking about it right now. Have we
Yeah.
done Dirty Dancing on the podcast?
No, but I've seen Dirty Dancing tons of times. I've seen this
I've
movie
seen it like once,
today.
to be honest.
It's on CMT all the fucking time at my mom's house. All the fucking time. I'm sick of Dirty Dancing, to be honest. It's a good movie though. Yeah. What
For
do you
what
think,
it
Amber?
was, I think it was successful. I think it gave the fans what they wanted.
The fans being
Yeah.
children who watch Disney Channel. But
Yeah.
honestly though.
Yeah, I do
so
think
for me,
it
a
set up.
33-year-old. Yeah, sorry.
I do think it set up the third one well.
Yeah.
And talking about Descendants, I think that it was really like the original springboard into Descendants.
The
Because for
blueprint.
those of you who do not know, it is huge among the kids right now. And in addition to High School Musical, like on stage musical, there are now on stage Descendants. Like you can buy the rights to perform
I did not know.
Descendants. Yes, both Descendants Junior and
Wow.
and like a full out Descendants. Like high schools are doing it and
So
everything.
to show how young I am still, I still was in the Disney Channel phase when the first Descendants came out. And that was
That checks out. I couldn't tell ya.
2016.
Brian is actually a big fan of the Descendant
The
movies.
first Descendants movie I saw was the second one with the octopus lady, the daughter of
that's a good
Ursula.
one.
The one, the lady, I forget her name, from Ant Farm, which is the show I grew up watching.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, I think it laid the groundwork very,
Yes.
very well for that. And now they have like a whole nother market to do what they're gonna do. And it did bridge the gap between TV musicals and on stage musicals for Disney that were not based on Disney characters.
But we're
which I think
talking
is
right
important.
now, we're talking about High School Musical as the brand.
Yeah,
Not this specific movie.
that's
Because
fair.
I feel like this specific movie
No, I did not like
didn't
it.
drive what you're talking about. Like, it's just part of the trilogy. It's just part of the name.
Yeah.
But to me, it's a very like, that was a success. We got to make another thing really quick without
Yeah, I
thinking
think
about
that they took the exact formula that they did for the first one
Mm-hmm.
and kind of replicated it.
Replicated it, but also just like downgraded it. Most of the background characters don't do anything. Like Zeke was my boy in the last one.
Oh,
I thought
Zeke, I
Zeke was
forgot
gonna
about
do
Zeke.
something in this one. Doesn't show up
All
much past the beginning at
background
all.
characters from like the original movies were there.
They were
because
just
I think
there,
that,
just to be
they're just
faces.
a part of the ensemble.
That-
And they didn't want to get rid of
Mhm.
them.
One
but,
girl, Braden and I, 20 minutes ago, were just dead set that she had not had any lines. The dorky, geeky girl who can
Yeah.
like
Kelsey, I think her
organize.
name is.
Yeah, I don't know any other names.
That writes. She writes the.
Yes.
Yeah.
She's the
Yeah.
pianist.
She-
She
yeah.
writes the songs.
We weren't sure if she spoke at all through the movie, and then there was
Her
One
her
part
main
where she
plot
says-
line in this was that she wrote the main song, that "You Are the Music in Me," for Troy and Gabriella, and then
Just
Ryan
like
and
number
Sharpay
one.
were trying to
yeah.
were trying to steal the song. They eventually
Which is
stole
not-
the song,
Yep.
and
Isn't
then
that
they
a plot?
made it into like a pop rock song.
Yeah.
Isn't that a plot
Mhm.
line that happens in the first movie
Yeah.
Yeah.
with
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
I have this, like I
Right.
said,
Yeah.
this is my.
It just feels
I
like people were in a
couldn't see.
boardroom and they were like, what can we do different? It's summer? Okay, what do teenagers do in the summer?
Not be at school.
Right, good job. Okay, and do some of them, they're almost seniors now, so they might have a job. We'll give them a job. They'll basically
Not
have a
all
place.
of them have a job.
But
because
how
some of them
often
are
do you
rich.
see kids
Eh.
working at the same place so that everybody would be like, at school, they'd have to be at the same school. They all just work at the same place. Okay. Okay then, fine. They
all
all
the Wildcats, which also
Right.
include all the Wildcats' friends from other
Right.
clubs and things. So
Right,
basically
it's
just
just-
their whole
it's-
grade.
and like
We're all
this
in
is
this
a real
together.
deep
We're all
technical
in this
dive
All in this
into
together.
fucking High School Musical, but
But
I don't know. I felt like I was. It's kind of the vibe, and I don't mean this in a super negative way because I like this movie a lot that I'm gonna compare it to, but it gave me like Revenge of the Sith vibes, where it just felt like there were just scenes coming in and out. Like there's a story there, but I was like, they're not doing it as well as I think they could. So everything just felt like individual scenes stitched together to make a movie.
Right.
And I
Yeah.
like Revenge of the Sith. It's that, and it does, it's good still. I like it. I like Star Wars. I saw it when I was a kid. This I didn't, and it felt just like, and everybody's problems just, I don't know, they just didn't feel real. And they all got solved somebody describe the plot of this movie before I talk about the end of the movie.
you got this.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it's junior year of high school. It begins. This is the same year as the last movie. So the fall before, or so the semester before, they had just performed the musical that they were trying out for in the first.
Mm-hmm.
So not a lot of time has passed. But it's the last day of school. They're getting out of the school. They have a whole number about it. They're excited. So they go. Sharpay is like, basically, I want to be with Troy this summer.
Mhm.
It's a status symbol.
Mhm,
I'm the most
mhm.
popular girl. He's the most popular guy. We
We got to do it.
I have to get together with him. So she uses her influence to get the boss of this country club that her parents own to hire Troy Bolton. They hire Troy
And everybody
Bolton.
else in town.
However, he's like, I only want to work here unless the rest of my friends and my girlfriend works here,
Right.
or else
That's
I
a
won't
normal
work.
thing to ask
Yes.
of any employer.
But Troy Bolton is very
He's
privileged.
a go-getter.
And he is
very
he's
privileged.
the
He doesn't know
basketball
better.
star, so he listens to him. So they all get hired, and basically the whole time,
They do, yeah.
Sharpay is trying to get with Troy Bolton, and she uses her money and influence to buy him basically, like, I'm going to get you a scholarship at the college you want to
Literally,
go
yeah.
to. My father is going to pay you all this money. However, you need to pay attention to this, and he starts to ignore his friends, and his friends get angry at
And
him.
then
guess.
the music
Basically
cuts out.
prostitutes himself out to her.
Pretty, yes. Gabriella understandably so, gets mad, like, you're paying attention to this chick, but not me, your girlfriend.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
They have songs, a breakup song, She Leaves.
Very sad.
He has his...
If I were a 7-year-old on a school bus, I would listen to it
we
while
don't
I
want to talk about
looked
that.
out about.
It was a
Sorry.
great song.
Go on.
We
yeah.
all had our 7-year-old
Sounded
school
good.
bus song.
Sounded good.
But he's like, I don't want to sell myself and get rid of my friends
Yep.
just for you because you're not my friend, obviously, and I have integrity. So he goes back to his friends. They have this talent show, which they've been talking about this whole time, which I completely forgot to mention. There's a talent show at the end of the summer that Sharpay has won every year up until now when Troy Bolton
It's like-
comes.
It's like the High School Musical of
It's the
this.
High School Musical of this High School Musical
Yeah.
movie.
Mm-hmm.
There is a couple adults that play in the, so it's actually more big stakes because there's adults that
Yeah.
come to this.
Yeah. Yeah,
and
adults come to
teenagers.
this. His parents
that girl,
see this.
that
yeah.
lady with the puppet, that was like a 40-year-old woman.
This
Out for
40-year-old
blood.
woman really wants to win this thing, but Sharpay beats her every year.
Oh,
Yeah.
no doubt. I
and
mean, fuck.
Ryan Sharpay's
Twin.
yes, gets angry because Sharpay is basically replacing him with Troy.
Yeah.
So he has this whole plot to undermine Sharpay. And talent show comes around. He betrays her. Sharpay is left in the dust. Gabriella comes back. They sing a song. They make up.
Stupid.
They make out finally. They have their first kiss,
So stupid.
and the movie ends.
Oh, God.
and
Yeah. That.
Miley Cyrus shows up at the end.
Right. Post-credit scene.
For one
like 1
second.
second.
Miley
Yeah.
Miley
And
Cyrus
then senior year is
on its
on
way.
the horizon.
On the horizon.
That's the movie.
Okay, so we're gonna break that down now, piece by painful piece, because there were a lot of times where I wanted to like pause you and say something, then I was like, no, it's best we get the whole plot out, and I don't know where I want to begin with all of my thoughts. I'll start with the ignoring of the friends subplot. Like that was
Mhm.
sort of in the last one, and it made more sense in the last one. Where in this one, it was like, is he? I think the movie's telling me he's ignoring his friends a lot, but really, like, he comes to work, you guys dance around, and then at night he seems to be going and doing stuff for this scholarship. Like, it just didn't seem as like where in the last one he was hiding it a little better why he was like missing out on time with his friends, and it was such a big subplot.
Mm-hmm.
This was like The Hangover 2, dude. It was just like, let's just do that again,
I would
but
say,
not as
though-
good.
I would say though, I don't think that this plot is good. I don't like the plot in this movie.
It's
I would
not a
say
good
that they
plot.
have some of the better songs in the whole trilogy. Not all the songs.
Sure, yeah.
Some of the better songs are in this movie, but I would say in the first movie, Troy is not seen as, I don't know, the villain almost, where his friends are sort of not the villain, but they're not very justified in acting the way they do and trying to break him and Gabriella up. But in this movie,
Okay.
he's like turning against his friends for money and influence,
Yeah.
which I think it makes him more in the wrong in this movie, which I do like.
I have a question.
Oh, you think he's in the wrong for that?
Is he?
I don't
People
know.
argue
I
that,
don't.
though.
I don't
People
know. I
are-
think that's
the
a
whole
more
thing, though.
reasonable
Does
thing to
he
be
want
torn
should
over.
he go after his dream?
Yes.
Or does he have integrity and stick with his friends that have supported
Yeah.
him
What
this
is
whole
this
time?
movie really trying to say, though? Because,
Well,
like,
yeah.
do you want to make your future dreams happen, or do you want to stick up for your high school friends that you may not have in a few years anyway?
They don't know
The
that.
high schoolers don't know that.
They
but
don't
we,
know
as the people
that.
that make content, should maybe
But-
let them know.
But they also have the scene where they're all like the sponsors from the Hawks, like the team he wants to play for,
Mm-hmm.
the University of Albuquerque. He's like,
Yeah.
they're basically saying that last play in the state championship, that was a great pass. You did very well. And he humbles himself and was like, well, actually, my teammates basically built me up and helped me in that.
Yeah.
Fair.
Which is true.
He does try to give his people.
And they were like, no, it was all you.
Yeah.
And also, does he have a realistic shot of being successful in college? He's not going to be a starter. He's 5'8". He's going to get stuffed every time he tries to pass
Only
the ball or
if they
shoot
write
the
it
ball.
in the script. I mean,
So
yeah.
the message is
He doesn't have a good passing ability. He's not quick, so he's not a good basketball
She knows
player.
all his stats.
Sorry.
She's been watching these for a long time.
the
Yeah.
message is he should have given up the scholarship to stay with his high school
Yes,
girlfriend.
I know that's the message,
No.
but and he sort of does he? I don't really know.
He
Like,
sells himself out to this rich chick.
You shouldn't sell out.
does
in
he still
basketball.
get that by the end? Like, he's still like everybody was friends at the end, so like, is he gonna get the
I'm always
scholarship?
confused on why they're all friends at the end. And nothing
Spoiler
was
alert.
lost.
Spoiler alert.
It's all spoilers.
They make the state championship in the next movie.
Okay, yeah.
So he
that-
has a second
But
shot.
they don't know that in this movie.
But they don't know that in this movie. I'm
Okay.
just saying.
Because my overall
that's
question.
good to know though, because really, I was like, I don't think the movie addressed it,
No.
and I feel like that's an important subplot. You can't just throw
Yeah.
away with.
Because my number one question is that if you had to narrow it down to one overarching moral of the story,
Mhm.
what is it?
I don't know, Amber.
Yeah, I know. I don't know either.
I don't
That's why
know.
I'm asking.
I don't know because there was a lot of mixed messaging
Yeah.
throughout the whole thing. There's
Keep your friends close and your enemies closer.
Whoa.
maybe there's a
maybe.
whole scene where Zac Efron goes and he's back and he's gonna sing with fucking
Uh-huh.
Ashley Tisdale, and it's a really nice scene. And she's even like, you know what? I think I even like you more than me right now. And it's like it's cheesy as
Mhm.
fuck, but it's a good scene. And then the next scene, they
Yeah.
basically are just like, fuck that, we're doing something else anyway.
Yeah.
Like what? What are we doing here?
100%.
But then they start singing, and Ashley Tisdale's like, I don't know this song at all beforehand, and then she just comes out and having fun singing with everybody, and
Yep.
then Vanessa Hudgens just shows up, and I'm like, why are all these problems that have been thrown? Yeah, that's what high schoolers need to see. Problems will just fix themselves.
I mean,
Yeah.
it's
You
not,
don't need to talk about
we
that.
talked
Yes.
about that though, about how that's kind of realistic with a high school relationship. Of that's like, you'll just randomly forgive people because that's the high school way.
But Ryan
It
But
is.
it's not the
Can't
right
confirm.
way.
Ryan is the one who screws her over because Troy was going to give her the chance.
I know.
Ryan
You're
screws
right.
her over,
You're right.
and then at
You're
the
right.
end,
You're right.
Troy is the one who reaches his hand out to
Yeah.
bring her up on stage.
Whoa.
Ooh.
But then she shows more compassion.
She's done her homework.
She shows more compassion
Literally.
at the end when they were going to give her the Star Dazzle Award, and she goes, "No, this goes to my brother."
Crazy.
Ryan Evans.
But
So Sharpay had a full roundabout,
unearned.
Character development.
Unearned though.
but she goes back to being evil.
Of course she does. The same thing happened in the last
She
movie.
goes back to, she'll vote for
That's what
Trump
I'm
later on.
saying,
She
dude.
votes for Trump. Later.
We already watched her try to take Zac Efron in the last movie. So we're just doing it more in this one.
She does not go for Troy in the next movie, though.
Good. I'm glad
Question.
She has her eyes
at least
on
some of the character
bigger
development.
places.
Oh, good.
I can't remember. Does
Zeke.
Zeke ever get with her?
At the end of High School Musical, she's
Say
like, "These
no
are the
more.
best cookies
Say
I've
no
ever
more."
had."
Shut up! I don't want to know anymore.
No, it's in the first movie. It's like a cutscene.
Oh,
it's like a,
I thought you were
it
saying
didn't last.
And 3, yeah.
they don't get together at the end of 3.
No, in the
But they're not like actively dating in
they
two.
go to
No, they aren't.
no.
Is Zeke even in the third
Zeke
one?
is in 3.
Okay.
They're
Great.
all in 3.
My man.
There's a prom. They get paired
Of
Whoa.
course there
up.
is. Of course there is.
There's prom. They get paired up.
Yes.
There's an actual High School Musical in 3.
I'm excited to
And
watch.
It's
3.
all about
Back to
have you not
making-
seen
future
3?
decisions.
It's been 15 years,
Oh,
probably.
Right on. Right on.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
once went.
Came out 15
So,
years
no,
ago.
I haven't.
I once went on a road trip with my family out west to California, and High School Musical 3 and one other movie were the DVDs that I brought along.
Damn.
I watched them over and over and over.
Goddamn.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, hey, you've proven it here and now tonight on this podcast. That's for sure.
100%.
I don't know. We can
Yeah.
at least agree that Vanessa Hudgens coming back is just like they break up at one point. Zac Efron and her. The whole
Yeah.
movie. Let's get into that subplot a little. There's a subplot of like them having their first kiss because they haven't kissed yet, and
Mhm.
so many
Then we
times.
forget about it.
So many
for a
times it
big bulk of the
almost
movie.
happens. It's disgusting. I could do without it. I could do without those almost kisses that they have.
Yeah.
7-year-olds to probably 10-year-olds were eating that up.
No doubt. And that's who it's for.
And that's
Yeah.
the target audience.
I get it. I'm here to talk about my target,
Yeah.
me as an audience right now.
Goodness.
They do treat it with the gravity of like they're hooking up.
Oh, for sure.
At that
We did not
age.
know that.
Yeah.
We did not get that. We didn't.
Yeah.
No,
I
you're a
think
kid.
that they left every character neutral at the end of this because they knew what they had and they didn't want Maybe
They
anybody
weren't
had
ready.
bad thoughts
Yeah.
about the third one.
Mm-mm.
Can't
coming
disrupt
with
the status
preconceived
quo too much.
Everybody is now like at level 0, just like
Yeah.
they were at the beginning
It's
of the
like a
first
reboot.
one.
It's like a little
Yeah.
bit of a reboot with some of the character
So
development.
everything they
not
said
all of
about
it.
class and, you know, breaking out of your
Yeah, that's probably gone in the next
it's
start
just,
of the next.
you know,
movie.
we're all friends again.
Yeah, ish. Unless they're not. I'm sure not all of them are.
But like,
Yeah.
we are under the assumption
One
that they
plot
are.
line I did appreciate. I do like
What's
the
that?
idea of the twins being kind of at odds in this one, as opposed like that was a fun
Finally, yeah.
dynamic that they didn't do in the first one.
Right, they were
I like
allies
that
in the first.
this one. That was a fun thing to kind of see.
Can I
Was
can
them at
I
odds.
spoil the next one or no?
You did
Not
how
not
much
a lot, but they do compete in the third one as well.
against each other.
Yes.
Okay, good to know.
I'm about
I
that.
agree.
Yes.
I don't mind that. That was the
Yeah.
only thing that I can say really positive
And they
about
have
this movie.
a musical number in the next one with the Rockets. The Rockets are in this.
Of course
and
they do.
I'm pretty sure it's
Why
the
wouldn't they
Rockets.
have the
Or
Rockets?
it's Rockets Light. They look
That's
like the
crazy.
Rockets.
Like I said, I'm excited to see the next one because I'm excited to see one of these with some budget, and I'm sure they put a little
there's
more
some-
time.
there's some
into
real
the
money
file.
behind the third one.
Yeah,
All you have to watch is the title sequence.
I'll say I'm a little. I was let down by. I was really going into this one thinking that I'd really like
Yeah.
it, and we like half watched it, but I mean I was paying attention as much as I could. I don't know.
It feels like a fan fiction of the first one.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, and I'm just putting this out there. This is not my favorite one.
Mm-hmm.
This is probably my least favorite one. However,
Okay.
there are two numbers in this that are my favorite songs in the whole trilogy. And
Yeah.
it's Bet on It.
Yeah.
You Are the Music in Me. The original rendition of it.
Which
Yeah,
one was
not
"You Are the
the-
Music in
not
Me"? Is
the
that
end.
the last song?
Which one? What?
Is "You Are the Music in Me" the closing
No,
song?
it's the one near the beginning when Kelsey's playing the piano.
Oh, when they're
Acoustic
all in that
version,
one
yeah.
room.
Yeah.
They all just show up.
Yeah.
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 Gotcha.
We blinked
that
in
one
and
is
they were
pretty
all
good.
in
there. Yeah, I realized-
I literally, I
Yeah.
looked away 1 second, came back, and there was a whole school of people.
I realize I do just like the songs better.
Okay. Yeah.
Mhm.
The movie itself, the meat around it is not
But I think
great.
that's,
But I always kind of just ignored that.
I think
There's
that's
some songs I really like in it.
for everybody who does really, because I know there are people that prefer the second one.
Yeah.
I've heard other people than you say that. And do you think that maybe that's just the same cause as you, like that they just really like the music, but in memory, if they sat and watched it again, they'd be
Probably.
like, yeah, it was just the
Yeah.
song.
It's because whenever
is
I
pretty
think
sh-
of the
this is a pretty
second one, I
shallow
think of
movie.
the songs that I like. I don't necessarily think of the plot or what actually happened.
Some of the
And I don't even like remember a lot of the plot.
I
of
think we
this.
had this problem with the first one. I think maybe you did. I can't remember, but correct me if I'm wrong. The first one made it seem like none of the songs had anything to do with what was going on in the scenes.
Yeah.
This movie did a better job with that. But the thing is, when they started applying that, it was fucking lame.
Yep.
They're singing about work. These fucking
Yeah.
16-year-olds are just like, we gotta fucking work and do our job. Like, what?
Yeah.
And they're pumped about it. Shut the fuck
And
up.
the same drum line for
Oh,
most.
yeah, don't even get me started
every-
with that. So
every song.
So they like fixed a problem, I guess, but like they didn't do a good job with it.
No.
Singing about
I
work, singing
think-
about I don't fucking dance while they're dancing
they're
on the
dancing,
baseball
It
field.
yeah.
was a great number.
They
You
were-
won't change my mind
Good
on
song.
They were
It's a good song.
complaining
It's a good
about the
song.
work,
It
I
just
must
doesn't-
say, which is very 16-year-old of them.
that. They do establish they do
were
not like working.
complaining
Yeah.
about they have to show up on time. They have to clock in for lunch at the exact time they're supposed to clock in
Yeah.
for lunch. They can't
Yeah.
have friends over, but they were complaining about that, which those are all reasonable
Yeah.
things that you expect
You're
at
right.
a job. However, that's
and it
very
ends there. Then you don't.
that's
No
very-
teenager's gonna start singing about like. Actually, never mind.
but they
Yeah.
were
Fucking working.
they were complaining about that boss the whole time in that song. I
yeah.
do not. They were like calling him a creep and everything, which he wasn't a creep. He was just trying to do his job.
I don't know what we
He
did.
was kind of in a bad position
He
himself.
wa-
Poor guy.
cameras weren't on him all the time. We
No.
don't know
Yeah.
what happened.
I have a pretty hot take.
Oh,
Okay.
I think people might like the music more in this one, only because we now hear Zac Efron's real voice, and it is so much better than the first one.
That can be-
I could
Yeah,
see that.
it's a-
Yes.
yeah.
I also
he's a good
think
singer.
this. I don't know. I'm not an expert in music, but I think this was more poppy. and
Definitely.
not musical theater.
Oh,
Mhm.
that
compared to the
like
first
you said,
movie.
when we
Yeah.
were watching the bet song, I bet that one.
Uh-huh.
I think you
Yeah.
said what is this? Aaron Carter. And I was
Yeah,
like,
it was
that's
Aaron
even
Carter.
filmed. Like it's very different than the rest of how the music sounds. Like it gets very poppy.
Yeah,
that,
like
to the
in the
point that like
first
it looked
one-
like a pop
Yeah.
music video of Zac Efron on
Exactly.
the fucking side of the desert
Yeah.
or whatever golf course.
And it's like in the first one, they wrote it for the musical. They wrote it for the plot.
hmm
And they got whichever one or whichever fans glommed
Juicy.
onto it did it. But I think in the second one, they were like, okay, let's round up the rest of them. Let's get the rest of the 7 to 14-year-olds on our side and make the music more to what they're used to listening to on the radio.
Yes.
I mean,
That's my hot take.
I agree.
I mean, honestly, yeah, that's why I liked it.
Yeah.
It was pop music.
yeah.
And they use that same formula for over
All
half
of
of
the
the songs.
I
They
never
use the same
noticed
formula,
that.
and they use the same drum kit for over half the songs because it's proven that it works.
I
That's why
never-
pop music hasn't grown a lot since the 90s. Like as soon as you got into the 2000s, pop music has really kind of like not grown as exponentially.
They found the
as it
master
has.
switch of getting the masses on
Yes.
board. The master beat.
They have. Because if you think about it, like 1920s music to 1960s music, so different.
Very
But
different.
2005 music to 2025 music, not as completely different. In those
Not unless you go
20
into
years.
like the niches, but not
Yeah.
like the mainstream
Yeah,
shit
but the
is all
mainstream,
very
yeah.
similar. And like it kind of like recycles itself.
Yeah, and people freak out when they do things that aren't mainstream.
Like I feel like we're
Like
getting
Beyonce's country album.
Yeah.
Like everybody freaks the fuck out.
Like we're getting back into like the
they don't know what to do with themselves.
Yeah,
I mean,
exactly.
Yeah.
And they break the internet.
Yeah, I mean, and maybe that's what's important.
Yeah,
Maybe that's why they do it.
exactly.
What does that say about this movie?
It's a formula.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I think it's a
part of the
formula.
problem. It's not trying to fight the problem.
Yeah.
7-year-old me was hooked.
That's who
Exactly.
it's for.
They did
Krabby
a
Patty.
good job at hooking 7-year-old me.
Yes.
figured out the formula.
The secret formula.
Secret formula.
I don't know, man. I don't know. I was really let down by this film.
I'm sorry to hear that.
I don't want to get your hopes up, but
It doesn't.
I love High School
He loves
Musical
High
3.
I that's the thing. The second one, because here's the thing. It's not like I'd have to go back and listen to the episode where we talk about the first one, but I
Yeah.
don't think I was in love
should
with
have
the
done that
first one either.
before.
I think I was also just like,
Because
yeah.
I think by High School
Lukewarm.
Musical 3, they're acknowledging the campy, stereotypical things
Good.
that they're doing.
I think they should. I
Yeah.
think they do need to lean a little more into it. I don't know. Maybe it's the cinematography where it doesn't work as much, I think, in these Disney
The
Channel
budget
original
did go up in
movies,
this
but
movie, though. You
The
can
what
tell,
went up?
though. The budget did go up in this movie from the
just
last
like a
one.
little.
yeah.
Just like a little.
I remember this movie being advertised for like when Blu-ray first became a thing because of Zac Efron's super blue eyes somehow in this movie.
They were really blue. Some of
They
those
were
scenes, if
very
they were like
They were
right up
like-
on them, they were.
Yeah, they were scary blue. They were like robot blue.
Yes. Can we also acknowledge that a cultural appropriation scene
Oh yes.
of
Let's
Hawaiian,
acknowledge.
of Polynesian culture?
Yes.
No, it's humo. It's a fish. The state
a
fish. It's the state fish of Hawaii.
Is it really?
Yes.
Okay. What is it again?
The huma nuku nuku akua a. I think that's how
Yeah.
it's pronounced.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. That was a weird song.
Some people they like that song the
I
most,
hate that song.
I can see people liking that song,
but like
I
out of
don't.
spite, probably.
but I can.
Yeah.
It's a weird song.
It's like,
It's like
you know,
I'm different
like it's
because I like this song.
It's the one that kind of like sticks out.
because it
because
sticks
of
out
what it
because
is.
it's for everything. That, it doesn't make sense. Yeah.
It just goes to the extreme, and it really kind of like hammers home the plot of how ridiculous Sharpay is and how completely out of touch
she's
Sharpay
supposed
is.
to look stupid
So,
in the
yeah,
scene. She is
exactly.
supposed to look stupid.
And at least you have Troy sitting there,
He's us.
like,
yeah, everybody
what
else
the
is
fuck
like,
is going on? At
"Jeez
least
Louise."
that happens,
yeah.
as he should. Yes.
I don't want to. He also does not want to participate.
That
in
was
it.
actually the most realistic
Yes.
scene in the whole thing to me.
And also, they He's
Yeah.
basically like
Yeah.
pulled
Yeah.
aside from his boss. He doesn't know this guy.
Yeah.
He's like, here's a flashlight. Go to this cave.
Yeah.
There's a surprise waiting for you.
Yeah.
How weird and culty is that?
So I think that his reaction to that is actually his most appropriate reaction to everything in this film.
Honestly, after being given the flashlight and told to go in the cave, if I were Zac Efron in that situation, I'd be relieved that I'd be like, okay, this is weird, but I was really fucking worried what was about to happen when I walked in here.
Assault weird.
Yeah, there's
Yeah.
worse. There's
But to
worse.
him, that's like worst case scenario. There's nothing worse that could possibly happen to Troy Bolton.
See,
Nothing.
that reminds me of
Bad.
something yesterday. So we were at this wedding. There was this girl there that had this like really like bright, beautiful orange hair, and Miranda kept commenting on it. And I was like, "Do you want her hair?" And she's like, "I would like to make a wig out of that hair." And I was like, "All right, well we'll roof your hair, and we'll take your hair." But when she wakes up, we'll be like, she'll wake up, she'll realize she was roofied, and we'll be like, "Okay, listen, the thing that usually happens when you get roofied didn't happen. You weren't raped. We shaved your hair, but you weren't raped."
Wait, what is this
violated
reminding
your
you of?
bodily autonomy. We just-
I've lost track. Hold on. Pull yourself together.
I know it sounds ridiculous, but it does connect.
I see where you're connecting.
Please.
I don't.
Speak
I've
for me.
lost. I
Oh, I'm
got
laughing.
lost.
You thought it was going to be worse, but it's not. Hear me out.
Right, like
Hear
it
me
could.
out.
You thought it was gonna be a lot worse. It still sucks,
Yeah.
but it's not the worst thing that could have happened. And that's how Zach feels going into that area with a flashlight in a cave.
And you know what?
And it's like, well, okay, this is weird, but
Yeah.
I could have got murdered in here.
And
is
that
what
would
I'm
have been a
saying.
much
Right.
better moral of the story.
Yeah,
Don't
Is,
trust.
hey, at least the really bad thing didn't happen.
right. The thing that usually happens in this scenario
Is
didn't
everything-
happen
Because everything else in
I
this
was
movie,
roofied
though,
and I wasn't
Don't trust
raped.
the 1%.
Ooh.
everything else in this movie, though, was the normal thing to have happened.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No,
Everything else.
I agree with your original point entirely. Yes.
Everything else. So yeah.
Yeah.
even though there's not a real moral to this story.
There's
It's
not a real
very
moral because there's not a
accurate.
real plot.
It's very accurate to a 16, 17-year-old
Sure.
trying to figure out what they want to do
Yes.
in life. And
Sort
they're
of.
like, I don't know. I'm going to go.
Let's sing about it.
I just want to dance.
Let's just do this. And I want to do this for the rest of my high school career because that's what the third movie's about. I don't know what path to choose.
Of course it is.
I feel like they're all about. I
They
don't know
could
what
just
path to
continue
choose.
following these kids through their whole lives year after year, and they could, I would believe somebody still being like,
You think
I don't know what I'm gonna do with my life.
You think
It doesn't
Yeah.
end
Back
after
to
high
high
school.
school.
Choice.
the whole time
Yeah.
your guidance counselor's like, what do you want to do? I don't fucking know.
And your guidance
I don't wanna
counselor's
do
sitting there thinking, like,
anything.
I don't know either. Actually, I mean, I'm doing this now, but will I do it forever?
guess-
It is a weird pressure we put on
I guess
kids.
I'll do this. It's how I chose my career.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like I'm pretty good at this. I guess I'll just keep doing this.
I made
and
a
see.
list of all the things I ever wanted to be
Mhm.
and chose the most realistic one.
Wow.
Yeah.
Basically, that's what you do,
Yeah.
which is sad. Now, Troy Bolton, however, it talks about him needing to get a job to pay for a car at college. However, you see Troy Bolton's home,
hmm
and he is rich.
But then, you know what though?
Yeah.
That's good parenting. That's good parenting.
Is it?
Get a job and earn some money
I mean,
instead of
yes,
just getting our money.
however, he can do whatever he wants.
Yeah, he's got the
He's
backbone
gonna get
of
that
it.
scholarship.
But when you're
too.
already in that position,
But
that's
someone
the
else
only
needs
way to
it.
learn. It's the only
Yeah.
way you can actually learn is if your parents are just like,
That's right. They could all afford to go
Everybody's
to these
mad at
schools.
Jackie
Their
Chan,
parents
and
can
I'm
pay
like,
for
go
them,
fuck
but they're going to take the
yourselves.
scholarship away from someone else.
why do you give a shit?
We don't know. His friends probably can't. We don't know that. Troy Bolton's the most privileged character, other than Sharpay and Ryan.
Is the most what character?
Privileged
Oh,
character
okay.
in this whole thing.
Yeah,
Sorry,
other than
not Jim.
Sharpay, other than the actual rich
They
people.
could, they could all be rich kids.
I don't know the
That's very in line with Disney Channel to just make
Mhm.
make all the characters make
New
all the
Mexico.
characters not have economic problems, so they don't really have to touch
So
on
they don't
that.
have to
Yeah.
deal with it. Yeah.
To be fair, in the third movie, Gabriella Montez, you think she's like this outcast. She's this smart girl. She has to work for what she earns. However, she has a scene in her house, and it's like this huge, humongous house. And
It's
you learn
Vanessa
that they
Hudgens'
move
actual
like
house.
every 2 years.
Ugh.
Like, how do you afford?
You don't.
Not in 2000 and
During
nine.
recession. This
Yeah.
is 2009.
That's
We
fair.
have some, historical
Context.
facts we have to look into when it comes to this movie. Pull up
Oh,
the Weather Channel. I want to see what the weather was like on the dates this movie was happening to see how accurate it is. No, I like that though. It's funny.
Hey, my
Ah,
phone's over there.
nah, yeah,
We
nah,
do
it
not
has-
have enough service.
No, that's true. I don't know. I don't know what else to really say about this one, gang.
Bad plot. Some good
Decent
songs.
songs.
Some great songs.
Decent songs,
Like the gay
bad
subplot.
plot.
Love the gay subplot.
The gay subplot's
Straighten
funny.
that cap out, son. Straighten that cap.
That's what
And that
keeps
cap
us coming
out,
back
son.
for more.
Yeah.
A lot of subtext.
I
There's a lot of
appreciate-
subtext in this movie.
That's the thing. A lot of people think Disney is like currently just trying to push like modern day agendas, and it's like they've actually been doing it to the best of their ability
Very lightly.
the whole time, and now they're finally getting the go ahead to do a
To
little
do
more
it.
than that. That's why you're seeing it a little more.
Yeah.
But like they've always been doing that. Always.
Just under the
You can see it
table.
here. You can see it here. Yeah. So
Yeah.
there's that.
How brave of them.
How brave of
Of this
Disney.
corporation.
How brave of Disney to flirt with the gays, but not,
Commit.
Now put them on their Facebook profile.
Mhm.
As long as it
Mhm.
was profitable.
Mhm. And we're Disney fans.
Yeah.
Save that for the Star Wars special. No, you're good.
All right. Well, I will be lightly optimistic to watch the third one.
I am still just as excited to do this again, even though I did not enjoy
Oh,
this
yeah,
movie.
yeah, yeah.
I have faith. I see the potential in it all. You know what I mean? I see the potential.
I see the formula.
So maybe the third one with a little extra budget, that potential gets a little better realized. For me,
Visuals great.
sure, I bet.
Production great.
Okay, yeah,
Costumes great.
okay,
Cinematography great.
okay. Is there? You're saying
Same-
that like eventually something's gonna be
Same
bad?
subplot, however, I think it's done in
Just
a
the
better
best
way.
to its abilities.
It ends in a more.
It's like Avatar 2. It's like it's
Better
just the
way.
same movie again, but like they did it a little better than the first time.
That's what Avatar 3 is going to be.
The same thing again. I know.
Same thing again, but fire people.
I know. I know.
They know the formula.
Then I'll watch it. I'll fucking go. We're not here to talk about Avatar. Does anybody have any closing statements then to say about this film before we call a wrap on our High School Musical 2 episode? Was that? Yeah. This is a great episode for you. You got it all out. She reviewed all of my negative things and
Yeah.
made sense out of them, and I was just like, yeah, I guess you're right.
Yeah.
And I still don't like this movie. I still have the problems, the technical problems I have with
yeah,
it.
yeah,
but-
yeah. Which is fair.
Yeah.
Which is absolutely fair. So
It's what I should have expected. It's what I should
Yeah.
have expected.
Don't have high expectations.
I don't know. I don't know. Summer. Just the idea of summer.
That great.
That opening was
Summer.
corny.
Summer.
Lame. So
Well-
dumb. So dumb.
well, to be fair, that opening sequence done in the school
Only, yeah.
Yes.
in anticipation of summer, but
It's a high school musical.
that probably was the best one for me.
It
I
was,
mean, other than
no,
Bet
the
on It.
song was good. The that's the thing. Even though some of the songs like sound good, what they're singing about is so fucking stupid that I can't
That's fair.
even enjoy how good it sounds. You know what I mean?
Who wrote the music?
Who the fuck knows?
I will say Ortega loves a triangle. Loves a triangle formation.
They did.
Because if you think back to Dirty Dancing,
Yeah.
at the end,
I forget-
triangle formation.
I forget.
We
I
gotta
don't
look
think
for all
he's
this
the
guy's
main
movies and look for
choreographer in this.
triangles.
He's not the choreographer. It's a different guy, but he shows up in
Oh, I
all
bet
the
he had
movies.
some
Well, they
influence.
love
He had some
a
influence.
triangle.
He's in the
He
first
still was
movie
probably
as a
like,
basketball
I
player.
could go for a triangle. And
It was
they'd
a
be like,
triangle at the beginning. It was
triangle.
a triangle at the end. It was a triangle on the triangle baseball field, or sorry, the diamond baseball field, had a
Which is
triangle.
essentially just two triangles
Yes, it is.
back to back. Oh my
But they do
god!
the-
I
but
thought
they
they
do
could
the
fool us, but they
waves.
didn't.
All I
Oh,
saw
just
was
so
triangles. Like the Matrix or something. I mean, triangle is the strongest shape. So if you're trying to make a point, go and be in a triangle.
Definitely.
Did you not know that?
Yeah.
Yeah, triangle is like actually like mathematically strongest shape.
The fact that math is measuring anything in amount of strength
Learning about that in geometry.
is ridiculous. Some nerd came up with that statement. Oh yeah,
No,
build
it's
shit,
real.
Chase.
triangles are so fucking tough.
You gotta
dude.
build shit. How do you think they build shit, Chase? You think they build shit with magic?
Yeah, I
No,
do.
they
You think
build it with
magic?
triangles.
Yeah.
They build it with triangles.
Someone in
They
without
build shit with shapes, dude. They build shit with shapes. Geometry, bro.
Fuck. Oh,
There's
okay.
triangles on your shirt.
Oh shit! I'm actually that guy. I don't remember what his name is.
You'd love a triangle.
your background being in musical theater, I never noticed the things you notice. My background being in education, I noticed that the only class that they show in these movies is a homeroom.
Yeah.
It's safe.
And a
That is
student
fair.
kissing a teacher, which would make me quit on the spot.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah, that's
I've
like
seen that.
that's like at least 3 meetings.
And she's just
Three
laughing.
meetings, yes. It is.
Get the fuck away from me. I get it. It's summer break. Go home.
Go home.
I don't want to see you either for 3
Don't.
months. You-
Yeah. No teacher is that enthusiastic on the last days.
I'd be there's a movie playing. I'm sitting at my desk.
Yes.
I'm putting my stuff away at this point.
I'm packing
I'm
up.
packing up.
Yep.
I'm signing yearbooks, but that's the interaction I'm having. that
But only
day.
like half signing it.
It's
Just
like, have a great summer. You were a joy to have in class.
What,
Even if you
haggis?
weren't.
Goodbye.
Goodbye. Yeah, getting all the paper, making sure there's nothing in my email inbox.
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, this was a different time, but man, that
Yeah.
was the most satisfying thing about the end of the year being a teacher.
Goodbye.
Yeah. I agree. It's
Yeah.
been a long time since I've had any experience in that field either.
Oh, yeah.
It's like 3 or 4 years now. So, but I get it,
times.
dude.
Yeah.
I get it.
Fair. So thanks for having me on
Yeah,
the podcast
Amber. Yes,
again.
thank you for coming back and doing this episode. I have been talking.
Thanks
I
for
feel
coming
like
over.
I feel like if you
Been a
go
wonderful
back through
episode
like
again.
the past year or so of Nerd Shit, you'd hear me every couple of episodes
Yeah.
going like, I think the High School Musical one will be coming up soon. Like we will be doing
It's
that
been
soon.
hotly
Like you'll hear me
anticipated
say that many,
biggest
many
teaser
times,
ever.
like as if it's not a real thing. But we finally got to do it. We finally got to make things link up. We're
gotten
in
to
a
mythic
camper.
proportions at this point.
It's been a really good time. We've talked about a lot
we
of
gotta
things.
do one more.
We got to do one more,
We gotta do one
and we got to
more.
make it happen before. I don't
What's
know.
the goal?
I don't know.
What's the goal?
I don't know. Maybe next like May graduation season because like it's summer. It's summer, so we're doing the summer one. You know,
Another year from now.
no, we shouldn't. Not a year. It would just be
11 months?
yeah, like a year. Yeah, you're right.
It is June.
Okay, we'll see. We'll figure it out. We'll figure it out.
Don't
But
want to make promises we can't keep on
no,
this
I'm
podcast.
trying to not do that anymore. I'm trying to really stick to like at least something that's coming up.
Are you trying to stick to a formula?
Yes.
You would say? Yeah.
Yes.
It's
Okay.
the formula.
I rest my
Status quo?
case.
like a crabby fatty formula. All right. Well, I mean, if that's all I got, that's all you guys
Yeah.
got. With that, then everybody, we'll catch you on the next one of these things. It's Nerd Shit in the Dark
And
every other Thursday.
we would say,
Good night,
sleep tight.
and do not let the,
The
shit bugs bite.
bite.
Good night.
Do-do-do-do-do.
Now was that